I'm looking for that vintage fling. But all complexions that I adore, so hard to find, they seem impossible to score. So I dream on to someday find that vintage love. I kept on looking, but everyone's such a bore. And out of a sudden, you came through the door. At the next table, your whiskey neat, the lights were dimmed as our eyes met and you saw me. And forevermore, I like to share that vintage dream. La-di, 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 la-di. Our eyes met and you saw me. And forevermore, I like to share that vintage dream. And forevermore, we're living in that vintage dream.
I'm thirsty. He grinned as he stumbled through the bar. Well, he said, give me some more love, give me some love, give it all. His breath clearly said it all. His car was parked behind the back door. Tuxedo black, El Camino 1969. Well, he said, give me some more love, give me some love, give it all. His filthy fingers said it all. Yeah. Give it all. Well, he said, give me some more love, give me some love, give it all. His lazy eyes said it all. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Well, he said, give me some more love, give me some love, give it all. Give me some more love, give me some love, give it all. He said, give me some more love, give me some love, give it all. Give me some more love, give me some love, give it all. All
something to say to me, then say it to my face. What it's all about, why you're bailing out. Think you owe me an apology. Just say it to my face. You're sorry. You're so sorry. promise we'd be together, you, me, forever. Now there's nothing left to lose. And though I understand it's hard sometimes to make up your mind in these trying times, yeah, I just can't accept you leaving me when I'm overseas with the heart so heavy. Think that I deserve the truth for once, not a guilty tone, 'cause you're not alone, yeah. You said you wanna come home, but I know you don't. So this time I won't hear it on the phone. If you got something to say to me, then say it to my face. What it's all about, why you're bailing out. Think you owe me an apology. Just say it to my face. You're sorry. You're so sorry. You're so sorry. You're so sorry. Say it to my face. You're sorry.
The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.patreon.com/The BPD Show.
Welcome back to the Benjamin Dixon Morning Show. I want to remind everyone that starting next week, we are moving to a 4-day week so that the entire team can have the same day off. And so that when we're on air, we'll all be on air together. So there will be a live show with the full team on Tuesday to Friday. On Mondays, we will have a broadcast of other original content as well as segments from the previous week so that the different communities across the various platforms can continue to link up with each other so that you just make sure you're aware, everyone, Monday, this coming Monday is our first Monday off collectively, and we will be live with the full team Tuesday through Friday.
Good morning. We're going to do a little something a little different here. Usually we're talking about stories across the country, but this morning it feels like the story is more so a movie that the plot line in the movie. It feels inspired by the show, Ben. We often talk about environmental issues, and we sometimes imagine what could happen if there was a worst case scenario. And the way that a lot of these corporations continue to pollute the earth, or not course correct when there's issues that lead to things like oil spills. What does that mean for 20 years from now, 50 years from now, 100 years from now? And there's been this ongoing scenario, Ben, that we continuously circle back to, that the richest people in this country don't really have to worry about that, because they could build a ship and they could fly themselves to another planet. This is the exact plot line that we see happen on a movie that has been trending on Netflix. I don't know if you guys have watched it. It's called Don't Look Up. It's a little bit of a dark comedy, but there's so many parallels in this movie to not just real life, but a lot of those things that we have been forecasting.
You know, I'm looking at Tyler Perry smiling there, and his role in the movie, Georgia, was probably the scariest to me, because as a Black person doing media, we are often programmed to just smile and play our part. And watching this movie, it really did feel like they could have been watching our show, because we do joke about it all the time, that when the rich people have destroyed this planet, they're going to build a ship and they're going to leave. I mean, they're already practicing. They're already sending up the wealthiest people, the wealthiest elite. And the part of the comedy that was so realistic was the absurdity of how much they were willing to ignore for the sake of political expediency, right? It wasn't so much as the Meryl Streep role as president was ignorant. It was that she put her political interests first and primary over everything. And I swear to God, that's what's going on in real life.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And Happy New Year, Brother Mac, by the way.
Happy New Year to you as well. And thank you so much for the beautiful and thoughtful card you sent me.
Yes.
Absolutely. It is a pleasure to have you back with us. Have you had a chance to see this movie?
I have not had a chance, and trust and believe on top of everything else, this is what I'll be looking at.
You definitely have to watch it. I mean, at first I was a little off put. I was like, oh my God, what is this about? It didn't feel like my kind of movie. But the further you get into it, and for those of you joining us online, feel free to share in the chats if you've seen it or not, what your thoughts are about it, what stood out to you the most. But, you know, for me, once I got into it, I think it wasn't just the way that the politicians were dealing with it. It was also the way that the media was dealing with it that I found very fascinating. It's because here you had two individuals who had made this discovery, and not just politicians were putting them off to the side, but the media was treating them as though they were crazy and trying to make something that was not light, or, you know, something that's very heavy and serious. They're trying to make a joke of it. And it wasn't really until the final moments on Earth that people started to take it serious.
Yeah. And now I really do feel like the Tyler Perry role, because I'm certainly every morning trying to make sure that we laugh our way through the apocalypse. But most certainly, this is not funny, but at certain points you have to laugh for not crying. And I think that was the brilliance behind the movie. They said, let's laugh at how dark this reality is. I'm sorry, Brother Mac, I think I jumped in there.
You know, I would say this, Ben, and Georgia, in regards to the media's role in it and the way that you saw that. Remember what Brother Malcolm said about the media, right? Brother Malcolm said the media is the most powerful entity on earth. They have the power to make the innocent guilty and make the guilty innocent. So that is the power that they have on the masses. And one documentary that I did look at over the holidays was the documentary on Weinstein, right? And there was a piece in this documentary where Weinstein literally takes a reporter, because he had recorded a very offensive statement that Weinstein made, and when Weinstein was trying to grab his phone and delete it, and he literally took this guy outside the bar in a headlock and was just punching him, and there were paparazzis everywhere, and we're talking in New York City. To this day, not one of those pictures have come up. Because that is the power of the wealthy. So you're looking at both sides of it, of what the wealthy can do and what the media does. So not one picture has ever been posted of it. So again, when you think about what Brother Malcolm said about this power of the media to influence folks, the rich has that very powerful source known as the media. And then when you got folks who are drunk with power, who will wield that power to control what the narrative is, you will have stories similar like this. So I'm very much looking forward to looking at this particular documentary. Yeah. And again, I think two of the people that you guys were talking about is now you got Elon Musk flying up around the world thanking all the Amazon folks for making it happen, while the average Amazon worker is grind out, having to piss in bottles while they're delivering. And then you got Elon Musk doing the types of things he's doing. So, certainly art imitates life now, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. It does. Yeah. And it will be I'll be curious to hear your thoughts about it. Because, Ben, when you make that parallel of you and Tyler Perry, I'd say the big difference, though, is you allow the audience a pathway to find joy and to laugh at our circumstances. You're not making fun of the people you bring on the show or making them feel like they're crazy. And so I think that's, the biggest difference is
we make fun of ourselves first and foremost here at the show, at the Benjamin Dixon Morning Show. We definitely do that. But go ahead.
Absolutely. And so, you're definitely not that character, I don't think, not from my perspective. But the media at large, I think, does have a role, like you're saying, historically, Brother Mac, where it can manipulate. It can manipulate public perception, and that's it's a dangerous tool. It can be a very powerful tool, an impactful tool when used appropriately, but when it's not used appropriately, you can manipulate situations.
But what if everyone had sheltered in place at the beginning of this, right? What if everyone had just sheltered in place for 2 months, just 2-3 months? The thing is that if we had done that, there's a lot of rich people who would have lost a lot of money. And America is running a game of chicken with us right now, saying, how far can we push this system and without breaking the profits of the people who really run this country?
And being, so Sister Georgia, you introduced to me the idea of the movie Don't Look Up. Being everything that you just said, if you go back and look at the movie Don't Look Up, and instead of viewing the asteroid coming towards Earth, just think about COVID-19 coming, and we have the vaccination, and all the scientists are trying to warn us, but we won't look up. And then you got one faction saying, look up, and you got another faction saying, don't look up, don't look up, in the face of all the science. And by the time everybody looks up,
it's too late.
It's too late.
It's too late.
It's too late. Yeah, that movie is brilliant in so many ways. And I saw somebody posted, Ben, I don't know if it was you or somebody else, but that the way the media is depicted in the film is incompetent. And so it's not a surprise that the media has been giving the movie poor reviews. However, I think I'm on the other side of that. I think the film is brilliant, and it allows us a chance to take a look at our society through a different lens. And in so many ways, we need to do that because we are polarized on so many issues, right? And in the movie, it's about looking up or don't look up, but that's parallel to our political scene. That's parallel to what we're dealing with COVID. That's parallel to what we're dealing with on issues of policing, is that we're polarized. It's this or that, and there's no gray area. People don't want to meet in the middle or hear each other out or compromise. And unless we either really start to grasp what the truth is and lean into the truth of these issues, or we do start to compromise, I'm seriously concerned about the health of our nation as well as our democracy.
Oh, without a doubt, I honestly believe we're dealing with the continuity of civilization here, right? You got to, Brother Mac, from a historical perspective, after the fall of the Roman Empire, there was about 500 years of darkness, the Dark Ages, right? Albert Einstein basically said that, and I'm going to horribly paraphrase him here, but he said, I don't know how World War III would be fought, but I know World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones, because we will be thrown into dark ages. And we're dealing with that not only in terms of the war temperament of this society, but of America in general, but with the refusal to pay attention to climate change. It's like, pick your disaster. Of course, if an asteroid came, this is exactly how I expect America to act, like this movie. So it's all the above. And one last thing, I do believe, David, we're reaching out. We've had the writer, one of the writers of the show. We've had him on our show, I believe twice, and we're going to try to have him back, because I'm with you guys. I think all the people who are having negative reviews of it, I don't see the negative reviews. I see a brilliant piece of work here.
Well, I think when again, if anybody out there who hasn't looked at the movie, or if you go back and look at the movie, as you watch the movie, just try to place, in this case, just place the pandemic in place of the comet, right? And look at the movie, and the parallels are absolutely brilliant. Now, Brother Ben, you talked about the fall of the Roman Empire and the possibility of something like that happening with America. See, part of why the Roman Empire fell is because they were so arrogant to believe that it was impossible for them to fail.
That's right.
And there's a reason why today people still study the rise and fall of the Roman Empire. Here are some of the symptoms of what led to their downgrade: corrupt politicians,
Well,
a degradation of education, highly expensive money, a vast amount of money going into the military, decays in urban areas. These are just 4 of the things, and I think there were about 8 that they list. But these are the things that led to the fall of the Roman Empire. Now, if you take that and look at America, how much money does America spend on its military in comparison? A fall, the degradation of the health system. So take a look at America. We see the degradation of the health system. We see how much money we spend on the military, how little money we spend on education. And at the top of that list, we see corruption in politics running rampant. These are things that ultimately led to the decline of the mighty, mighty Roman Empire. And if America thinks that it is above that type of behavior, given that it has the exact same symptoms, trust and believe that is an arrogance that will soon lead to our downfall. Just as a little history lesson, my bad.
Thank you so much for joining us here at the Benjamin Dixon Morning Show. I want to start by letting everyone know that on Wednesdays, this is Solidarity Wednesdays, when we connect across the political spectrum and connect with workers. We connect with unions, and we'll be speaking on a regular basis with our friend of the show, Nomiki Constant. We'll be discussing workers' rights. We'll be discussing progressive values, because sometimes when you're in a fight, the fight is a lot bigger than just you. Sometimes you need solidarity. Sometimes you need allies, like the local Teamsters 804 out of New York. I absolutely love their grit. They are they know how to fight, especially in social media spaces. And I've grown up knowing that my grandfather was a part of the John Deere Union in Cleveland. As a boy, I grew up knowing about it, but then discovering how the John Deere Union has been fighting a 5-year battle. It's just something. Then thinking about how our brothers and sisters down in the Bamazonians, the Alabama Amazon workers who have been trying to unionize, and the victories that they've been getting. We've talked with Brother Christian Smalls, who's a Amazon union organizer who's been going across the country really sacrificing himself and his well-being trying to organize Amazon, and they've recently had some successes. And so that's what we're going to be focused on Wednesdays, especially starting next week, when we're going to be joined by our sister Nomiki Const. She'll be coming on my show on Wednesday mornings, and I will be going on her show on Wednesday. Let's see, that's afternoon, no, evenings. I'll be going on our show Wednesday evenings, and we're going to be cross-pollinating.
So excited because this is our first show, full show of the year, but also we're launching a new segment every Wednesday. It is Solidarity Wednesdays with the one and only Ben Dixon. He's the host of the Benjamin Dixon Show, and he's also the author of God is Not a Republican.
Wow, you went way back.
That's it. I mean, you're an author.
Yeah, I wrote that one some years ago. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year. You're looking good. You're looking well rested.
Thank you. Got some rest. You're looking
the world
great.
Is a mess.
It is falling apart.
Literally. Okay, so this is our January 6th commemoration. I don't know what we don't want to commemorate them. I guess we fought the coup. Like maybe we should commemorate the Capitol Hill police, I guess. I'm not sure. Right. I have to start off with this because I saw this on going viral on Instagram. The Good Liars highlighted. I think they saw it in Florida. There was a Blue Lives Matter, the blue line sign, and it said, we support police, asterisk, except for the Capitol Police. Literally, that was on a sign. So
wow,
shows you where they are in their mindset. Wow. Well, I mean, I know you just watched the Stephen Donziger interview, and Stephen is, I think, a good interview for the top of the year to remember exactly what we're up against. But what were I know you had some thoughts.
I was sitting there thinking, if they can do this to a Harvard educated, successful white man, it's about to get pretty real in this country. And when he said that this was the first type of conviction with a corporate legal team, they're not even sending a chilling effect at this point. What they're saying is, look what we can get away with. And here's the asterisk here. The New York Times won't even say anything about it. The Biden administration won't say anything about it. I don't know if he was going to say whether or not Barack Obama was going to come down and visit him. But I doubt you're going to get Barack Obama to say anything about it. And that's because that's exactly anyway, I feel like that's the plan, Monomiki. Yeah. I feel like we're headed towards a fascistic state, and if there's more than one side to the culprits.
You mean that mandating vaccines and masks, not even actually mandating vaccines, mandating masks inside private facilities is not fascism, that this is fascism? What are you talking about?
Exactly, right? The fact that I don't know who was saying this, but it's pretty recently. I think it might have been your show or someone else's show, and they were saying that it actually was Tim Black. How you put out conspiracies to distract from the clear conspiracy in front of you. That's right. The real conspiracy is that America is falling into a theocratic fascistic state, and there's some complicit parties all around us.
Yeah. So this is what I love about our segment that we're going to be doing is I know you and I have privately talked about this offline, about how it's more important than ever for the movement to really stay in solidarity and learn about solidarity and learn about being a great ally, because they're going to do everything they can to come after us, divide us, distract us, channel our energy in non-productive directions, because they're preying on folks feeling insecure, as they should be. I think this is a really unstable time in our history, and I worry that there are good actors that are falling into these bad habits, and there are bad actors who are definitely taking advantage of this moment. Yeah. And so, maybe before we get to the 1 year note of the coup, what's your take on the state of the movement?
I think that's why I'm glad we're doing this segment. I'm glad we're doing this segment because we have to be able to fight like hell in our silos on our particular issues that are important to us, but then come up and unify with other people who are not going to fight like hell in our particular silo. We get it, but we got to unify to fight like hell on the things that are all a common threat to us. And the creeping fascism is a common threat to us. And I think our segment, and don't get me wrong, like I know that's a melodramatic way to frame it, but honestly, we're in a competition of words and rhetoric and propaganda, and so we have to come together in solidarity as often as we can to fight some of these common fights.
Right. And we'll talk about some of the tactics that they're using against us, against others, to distract, what kind of strategies they use. Because here's the thing, like, a lot of this stuff has been done before. If we go back to our roots, if we go back to history, if we go back to the writings, whether it's biographies of Rosa Luxemburg, who was predicting what was going to happen in 1938, and then of course she was killed for that, or the countless acts against the civil rights movement and union leaders in the mid last century, in from the 30s all the way up. So the coup. I want to play this one clip that was on MSNBC because there's some debate over what we want to call it, but it still happened. So let's play this clip.
And all this required was peace and calm on Capitol Hill. And at 1 p.m., Senator Ted Cruz and Gosar, a representative, started the Green Bay sweep beautifully, challenging the results of Arizona. Here's the most important thing I can tell you about this. The thing that we were trying to deal with was a media which refused to acknowledge any kind of possible fraud or irregularities.
Yeah, you just described this plan as a way to take an election where the outcome was established by independent secretaries of state, by the voters of those states, and legal remedies have been exhausted with the Supreme Court never even taking, let alone siding with, any of the claims that you just referred to. So legally, they went nowhere. Then you will use the incumbent losing party's power, that was the Republican Party that was losing power, to overtake and reverse that outcome. Do you realize you are describing a coup?
No, I totally reject many of your premises there. First of all, the election was still in doubt and would be until it was certified. Second, the idea that secretaries of state, particularly in Michigan and Pennsylvania, were like innocent parties. I mean, Jocelyn Benson and Kathy Bookfar, the secretaries of state in Michigan and Pennsylvania, they were put in power by George Soros for the express purpose of shifting the playing field.
Wow.
George Soros. Oh man. Okay. I love that he could have maybe gotten away with that. Maybe gotten away with his insanity and his legal skirt, using legal terms. But then when he threw in George Soros, you're just you understand you're on MSNBC right now, right? Like, right. That was, of course, Peter Navarro, who's assistant to the president. And he went on MSNBC for some reason. I don't really understand. And he was describing Pence's actions. Okay, so this system, this is what Ari Melber later said, that the system was designed to thwart people like you, because Peter Navarro was basically calling Pence somebody who betrayed the president, but he was doing his whole duty, right? Yeah. I don't know. What are your thoughts? Like, these guys are still in denial, pushing the big lie?
Peter Navarro is, how can I put this? He's like the clean cut version of the idiocy of people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, Matt Gaetz. Peter Navarro is the traditional Republican establishment who has made his league with Donald Trump, and he's going to go down with Donald Trump, all the way down to fascism. He's totally okay with it. You got to understand, like, during the beginning of the pandemic, Peter Navarro was one of the people who said, yeah, totally go back to school. We don't, the pandemic, schmandemic. So we're dealing with sociopaths who, and I'm dealing with babies in the background as well. It's
all good. Speaking of pandemic, I think the world's used to it now.
Exactly. We're dealing with
Remember when those were viral? Those used to be viral moments. Now it's everybody.
But it really does remind me. It just reminds me of how brash fascism is and where we are on this march towards fascism, that you have a Republican establishment type like Peter Navarro who goes on and says basically, yeah, no, it wasn't a coup. I don't care what you said.
It's maybe it's like there's some sort of legal definition to the coup. Like if somebody from the official office of the president says that it was a coup, is that speaking on behalf of the government and basically proving that you are a traitor? And we know how this country, there's a lot of traitors in this country that have gotten away with it, but we do have a precedent at least for that there is a protection in the Constitution. One of the staff sergeants, I'm going to excuse my language here, Aquilino Gonell, tweeted something. Let's this tweet of his quote. All right, do we all see this? Here we go. So this is the, if we can zoom in a little bit, these were his injuries, right? And he quotes Pence saying that one day in January, because Pence is, of course, saying that one day in January instead of, again, the coup or attempted coup. This happened to me, giving him and others time to escape, to safely do so he couldn't get hanged, executed. To some, my efforts and injuries are just an exaggeration. They did this to me. This is why it matters to me, and it should matter to you too, is essentially what he's saying. That one day in January, this is the part that really shocks me. There were actual lawmakers in there, whether it was Nancy Pelosi, who may not be pushing them hard enough, or Mike Pence, who they were literally, this entire thing was designed to go after him. They wanted to lynch him on the mall. What? And he is still protecting them.
Because he has a conundrum on his hand. This is a civil war in the Republican Party. It's two factions, the Trump faction and the Koch brother faction. Donald Trump did a really good job of coming in and doing his own coup of the Republican Party by winning unexpectedly the presidency. And I say unexpectedly, but Keith Ellison actually was the person he called it. He said that Trump could win, and Trump did win. That created a new faction against which Peter Navarro, just in this clip he was talking about, or in the next clip, when he was talking to Ari, he starts talking about the Koch brother faction. And so Mike Pence cannot blow up the entirety of the Republican Party. So they're trying to figure out, how do we deal with Donald Trump without destroying the Republican Party? And Nomiki, I don't think they can get rid of Trump without destroying the party. So Mike Pence really should come down on the right side of history. But alas, he's deciding to say that day in January, someday in January.
Let's put this this quote up again, that day in January, from Mike Pence and Lindy Lee's tweet that she put out there. I'll read it verbatim. So Lindy Lee, who's an activist, the other tweet. 1 second. I'll put it up on my computer. You know the jam. We're all hosts. So Lindy Lee is an activist. She was part of the Biden, I think, team, if I recall, the campaign team. Yeah. So she says, Mike Pence says, January 6th was just a day in January. Then Pence on January 6th, afraid that the Secret Service would kidnap him, said, quote, "I'm not getting in the car, Tim. If I get in that vehicle, you guys are taking off." This is insane. And the Capitol Police said, "We did everything possible to prevent him from being hanged and killed in front of his daughter and wife." We know what was going on, but now that it's being laid out with quotes, just how conscious everybody was in the Capitol of what was happening. I mean, we remember the tweets when you had squad members in closets. Cori Bush texted me the day of. She was on, in a basement in the Capitol, scared for her life. But now you're seeing how the Republicans dealt with it. They literally were afraid of the Secret Service.
And they're going to try again.
Yeah.
Of all the things I could say, I think people need to realize they're going to try again. They're not satisfied.
And then what?
Well, I think they keep trying until they succeed.
Yeah. See, here's the thing. They don't actually, a lot of these guys are QAnoners, were mobilized from QAnon. They, some were Proud Boys. It was like a collective of the far right. but some of them regret and said that they were being brainwashed from QAnon when they were interviewed by the FBI. I think what we on the left need to do is recognize more of that. And I'd love to hear your take in terms of how we prevent this, because Democrats are clearly not going to do anything. They're doing very little. They're doing these hearings.
Wow.
It's important. They'll raise a lot of money off of it. It's an election year. Perhaps highlighting the coup over and over will remind folks that, our government is at risk and democracy at risk. Maybe that'll win or protect some Democrats, right? But the truth is that the Koch brothers invested locally 40 years ago. They built the framework for people like the Proud Boys to be running for office locally. Whether or not they're fighting with each other or not, they're either going to storm the Capitol or they're going to walk into the Capitol with a badge.
Or they'll get elected.
That's what I mean by getting elected as a.
I thought you meant they'll go in as security. They'll go in as security as well.
Well, that's true, yeah.
Because many of them were police officers themselves or ex-military, and they, so they have their ways. What do we do?
Yeah.
We have to honestly show the Democratic Party. No. Forget about the Democratic Party. We have to show the people that there's a better breed of Democrat out here, that we see what's going on, and that we see that these people, when I say Democrat, I'm talking about lowercase d, small d Democrat. There's a better breed of Democrat out here who's not going to sit back and just watch these fascists take over. And I think it starts with how we campaign, how we talk about these things, like very clearly stating it like you just did, Nomiki. This is a fascist coup. This is a fascist takeover, and we need to fight back accordingly. I think just using that language and how we campaign will set us apart, because a lot of the Democrats are starting to fall asleep.
Yeah.
So.
No, it's true. I'm of the mindset just a little bit different is, yes, there are obviously better breeds of Democrats, but I also think that we shouldn't have to rely on those Democrats, and we should just be running against them. We should run red districts as progressives. The Democrats, the establishment Democrats don't want to run people against these fascists because they think you're going to lose. Well, guess what? Somebody should. Because my thought is there are enough sane people out there that don't want a Proud Boy representing them in city council.
That's right.
They'll take a mom. They'll take a teacher. They'll take somebody from the community that's sane and is thinking about the community and is invested in the community. Not some boy who's going to, burn the house down. And
I'm going to tell you the honest truth. I think what happened was the Democratic Party found out how much money they can make from running campaigns. Yep. And they are more interested in just milking that money than actually electing and accomplishing anything. Because it makes no sense that we have to recreate the organizing structure every 2 years and every 4 years for someone to run for office, when those infrastructures should be in place all the time for political action, for organizing, for fighting it back. You asking all the right questions today, Monique.
I'm feeling stressed a little bit about the future. Because, do you think that what do you think 11 months from now, where do you think we'll be?
Unless there's some divine intervention, I don't see the Democratic Party doing what's necessary to block Democrats from losing the House, and block, at this pace. I don't want to sound like the bearer of bad news, but they're winning. Their strategy is working, and the Democrats are sitting back like, it's fine. I don't know. I hope we can get something going around here.
And Trump's, he's leaning into places like Arizona. He wants to these rallies with, in a state that has a lot of QAnon viewers. They arrested some people in Arizona who stormed the Capitol, who were caught, that were big QAnon believers, I guess. And I think he's leaning in because he knows how close it was in Arizona, and in places like Georgia. Like what's happening there? You're on the ground.
Everyone is honestly gearing up for the impact of Donald Trump on the gubernatorial race with Stacey Abrams, Brian Kemp, and David Perdue, as well as the Secretary of State race. Donald Trump is trying to get one of his henchmen in there to win that seat. So everyone is trying to gear up to hold the line against Trump in the 2018, the 2022.
Don't we wish?
Yeah.
Don't we wish we still had that energy? All right. Before we wrap, got to ask you a question.
Sure.
So what do you think the state of the left is? Where do you think we need to pivot a little bit?
I think we need to just continue to swim in some solidarity. I think we recovered, or rather, no, we didn't recover. We survived 2021. 2021 was really the testing of our solidarity, the testing of the left, particularly the online left, the Twitter left. That was a power source. And people could say what they want to. The online left and the Twitter left was a power source that was attacked in 2021, and they almost took us out. But we're still here. And I think the way we strengthen ourselves is through solidarity.
I love it.
Yeah.
Solidarity Wednesdays with Ben. Check us out. I'll be on his show at 8 a.m. on Wednesday.
All right, shout out to everybody that's in the chat room. I see so cool. Good morning to you. Really right, Sister Dragon Daddy, what's going on? Ryan in this room. Mark X, good morning, brother. Laverne, what's going on? Roller Dragon is here. Brendan Johnson. How good morning. Who word on my shoulder? Good morning to you. Quick, yes, sir. What's going on? Brother Chuck Beasley, shout out to Brother Chuck Beasley, man. Hey, please. What's going on, brother? Hey, my Truth Dragon, Brother Lateef, good morning. Afraid not. Kareem Ransom, Brendan Johnson, Iris Jones, Alicia, good morning. Dragon, good morning to you. That's Broken G-Man, what's going on, G? Tyler Hackman, Tabula Rasa, good morning, Mother Beginner. Good morning, y'all. Miss Sue Beasley. Out to everybody, good morning, y'all. On and on it goes. Good morning, yeah, Hustler. William Moore, what's going on? All the MTV. Good morning. Shout out to Tiger who finally made it home after being kept at his wife's job this Monday afternoon. Yeah, that's a long time, man. Let's Lynn, good morning to you. Happy New Year as well for you.
Baby, you set my soul on fire every morning and every evening. And maybe we can't get any higher, but if you like to take a ride, we can discover what we're hiding. Making you move, it sure looks good.
All right, coming back with me now is Pastor Anthony Galloway. Pastor Galloway, one of the things I've been following pretty extensively here has been obviously the same thing that you've been following and the rest of the world has been following, which is COVID-19. It appears, Pastor Galloway, that there's a new variant that is out. And it does not have a Greek name yet, but it has been tracked from a lab called the IHU lab. And it's something that is concerning. Obviously, it seems like there's it seems like there's something new that comes out every single 3 months. There's a new variant that comes out, and this is not to dismiss the seriousness of it. It's just to say that, you know, when people don't take the necessary precautions, that which didn't kill you comes back and mutates to get a better shot at you. And with the Omicron variant, I want us to play this first clip. The Omicron variant, one of the things that has kind of snuck by our radar is the fact that it's been because rather it has been less severe, and I'm using quotation marks. People have become even more lax, and the numbers and the cases have skyrocketed. But we don't know the long-term impacts that this is going to have on people who have what's called long COVID, especially long COVID in children. Let's take a listen to this clip as they break down the possibility of long COVID in children because we let our guards down over the Omicron variant. Take a listen in. Okay, so that part is okay. So we have it here on the screen. So on the screen, children with long COVID, and this is a you can see it on the screen there. Long COVID for 12 months and over, ages 2 to 16. Long COVID for 3+ months, ages 2 to 16, and long COVID any duration, ages 2 to 16. We see it there on the screen. 20,000 children with symptoms for longer than 12 months. There are 20,000 children in this particular study that have suffered from long COVID for 12 months. Now, some of the symptoms of long COVID is the inability to smell, the inability to taste, having persistent headaches, having persistent flu-like symptoms. Even though it's mild, it's not mild symptoms. They're saying it's mild compared to death. Pastor Galloway, jump in there for me.
Well, in this we'd be having a very different conversation if we didn't have the political ideocultural wars that we're having.
Wow.
Because, you know, as you started off, you know, just talking about the nature of viruses, right? If we were talking about this just as science in a scientific parlance, and it wasn't on this public stage space, we could have very similar conversations about many different viruses and the tracking of them and how they affect the body, which prior to now has just been a practice of modern science, being able to understand how viruses work. This is new the way it is because of the way in which our political identity is being wrapped around these things. So I just wanted to set some context that this isn't this is how viruses work. So if we weren't having that conversation, we'd be looking at this and we would be trying to take early precautions just as a matter of fact, matter of this is how science works.
Yeah.
But now we are not, you know, and so the long COVID experience here becomes very, very important in the congregation that I serve and in the communities that I'm in. This has been of important concern from the get-go. You know, and just because we may be later in the data as it comes out for young folks, the scientists were saying that this was a problem, you know, months ago, right? At the beginning of the onset now, and now because the data takes time to collect and to be accurate and right and studied and all of those things, we get the confirmation of what scientists have been saying all along this time. And so it's a very, and the other piece of that is the complications, right? So it may seem mild again in comparison to death, right? But if I have underlying conditions, my daughter was born at 1.5 pounds, really premature, right? And thankfully she's not having complications with that. But one of the things we had to be very mindful of is the fact that until the scar tissue that was a result of intubation that young, right, was outpaced by the new healthy tissue.
Oh, wow.
This would have been a huge point of concern because her breath capacity would already be compromised. Add in the long COVID symptoms and some of these other things, and you really have a situation that's problematic. So again, we got to be thinking about, you know, the folks who can't just shake it off, right? And again, that this also erodes that thing about being able to shake it off, because there are folks who still can't smell, still can't taste. Their entire, what experience in life has been altered by this virus.
One of the things that frustrates a lot of when people say long COVID, and you just pointed this out, and I just want to highlight something you pointed out. When they say it's mild, it so erases people who have pre-existing conditions and immunocompromised, and just nothing is mild for someone who is already in this country just has a complete and total wanton disregard for the people in our community who desperately need us to do the right thing as a matter of public health. And yet we not only aren't doing the right thing, we just completely erase them and say, oh, this version is mild.
Well, and it also allows me to push out of mind those very folks that you just talked about, Ben. Like you know, if you've seen those maps about where vaccines are rolling out, there's this huge gap in our motherland continent of Africa.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
And you know, our world health, you know, we should be thinking about how because when viruses spread, they morph and they change.
That's right.
And we have to continue to do the scientific fight to stay ahead of it. That's why the IHU, with all of the you know, strain is being studied right now with all of its mutations, is concerning, because we have the ability to address these as they come up. We usually have more time because the spread. You know, we do what we need to do to stop the spread long enough for us to outpace what the virus does to the
Brother,
body.
you were saying a word. Did you mean to do what you just did? Because you just tied the spread of the virus, but the metaphor that I jumped on, it was not a metaphor for your life. It's a very real story about your daughter and the scar tissue outpacing the growth of the normal tissue, and in the normal healthy growth. Here we are trying to outpace the ignorance of everything that's stopping us from holding back the virus long enough to do the research that you're talking about. Ignorance is outpacing knowledge.
You better preach, boy.
I took it from you, brother. I took it from you. You set it up.
But so notice the more we know, the more we start seeing that increase go up. You know, in terms of long COVID, this has been something that my family personally has been very keen to, because we don't know yet, because we're still in the front lines trying to catch up, trying to outpace what's coming on, right? Our data, unfortunately, though, has to lag. And so, because that's how it works, you study it and you get to know all the intricacies of it. And in the space of not knowing, you know, we have been committed that to not get this, because we don't know what the long-term ramifications and effects are. And now we're starting to see, you know, and that dovetails to what I heard from doctors. We had on the Counter Stories podcast, we had one of our local doctors who worked in the ER, who works with COVID patients, you know, talking about some of the challenges. And they have folks who come in egregiously sick and are like, can we get the vaccine? And they're stuck because they're like, that was a decision that had to be made before now. Now we in it. There's nothing that a vaccine can do for you now.
That's right.
And unfortunately, we, you know, because as a world organism, are dealing with this issue now that the data is starting to come out in ways that we are now seeing. And it's might be too late to do some of the preventative things that we could have done a long time ago.
We could have done a long time ago. On the screen, David, you could put it back on the screen. I want to read it for the listening audience. There is a video, or rather a tweet image. I can't read the name, Cleavon MD on Twitter, showing an image of 7-year-old Cedar Hurl, I believe I can read that, lost her hair due to COVID, and her mother suffered a stroke due to the virus. And she said, quote, "I want COVID to go away forever and never come back." These are survivors of COVID. There are people who have survived COVID who have only survived because they had their legs amputated or had a lung transplant. And that was at the beginning of the pandemic. That's when doctors had enough bandwidth to do innovative things but we have crashed the entire system. At this point, doctors are, like you said, chapels are being filled with beds.
And I'm reeling because we just lost one of our community activists and writers in our local community space, Mel Reeves, to COVID. And he was very public about his fight into it, just so that folks could see this, because one of the things that we are struggling with is proximity, right? So if I don't have direct connection to somebody who suffered this at this moment, then I'm allowed to push it out until it somehow gets into my psyche, my zeitgeist, and I can't run away from it anymore. These are the folks we're starting to see fill up in hospital beds, so much so that folks who need heart transplants, heart procedures, and things like that. My mom went into AFib, and it runs in our family, and I had to rush her in, and I had to, you know, watch her get shocked back into rhythm and all of that, right? And we go in, and it was late night, and it was on New Year's, right? And we go in, and I'm looking around at the hospital space, and the folks, as they come to us, you could just see the exhaustion and the fatigue. Yeah. And I stopped and just asked the technician who was coming to prep her for the procedure. I said, how are you? And the waterworks that just began, she saw I had my pastor sweatshirt on, so she's made the connection there, and she was happy to have somebody with the faith walk. they hadn't had access to their chaplains because the chaplains are taxed as well. So
Wow.
she had, in order to prioritize patient care, she hadn't been able to get her own one-on-one with her spiritual advisor at the hospital. And so I got it. And I had to go into pastor mode and deal with the waterworks
Wow.
that came to just take the breath. And then she proceeded to do an amazing job caring for my mother. But this is the kind of thing that we're encountering in this space, right? How, just somebody's checking in and say, how are you doing? And I have to grab this moment because I haven't had this moment to be able to just breathe. This is what our healthcare professionals are experiencing.
I want to bring in DJ Exclusive, who's in the house. DJ Exclusive. We first of all, good morning, brother. How you doing? You know me, I'll just jump into a conversation and not
right. Like I wasn't even ready. Like, what the crap, man? I'm looking at the phone, sipping car, like, God dang. I'm glad I had the headphones on, so I heard something.
No, I just, you know what, man. I saw you in the background. I'm like, you know what, let me, because we're talking about some. I mean, listen, it's heavy in the morning. It's Friday. I'm going to turn it over to you a little bit early and we're going to get the party going soon. But James, before we go to break, you said something about a flu Rona. I thought you were just saying that. That's actually a thing.
Ben, you haven't heard?
Man, I'm trapped in, I'm in political exile right now. David, run the clip of this flu Rona. What is a flu Rona?
So we've gone through 2 flu seasons with the threat of COVID-19 still looming. But new this morning, the first official case of flu Rona has been confirmed. So what is flu Rona? It's being infected with COVID-19 and the flu at the same time. And it's raising concerns over what the two together can do. Health experts say flu Rona could be catastrophic to the immune system, but they also say they don't see this becoming a common occurrence. And if you have your COVID-19 and flu vaccines, you likely are going to have mild symptoms.
Listen, I have the worst sense of humor. I laugh at times where you should not laugh. This is not a laughing matter, but my God, I thought you were joking when you said flu Rona.
Yeah. I wish I was joking.
Right. And just to be clear, right? That's having 2 of these viral attacks in your body at the same time, right? Which is.
Hey, DJ Exclusive, take us a break. When we come back, Rebecca Azor will be joining us for Like It or Not. The Benjamin Dixon Morning Show will be back right after this.
Mary C, good morning to you.
I wanna forget where I came from, where there's no getting new.
I know my little brother Tyler Hackett is in the building. Tyler, good morning, brother.
I am by myself, 'cause I won't be here alone. No.
Forgot what they call the robo meme. Man, hey, if you have not already, patreon.com/like-it-or-not, patreon.com/the BPD. So, man, y'all go ahead, join and get y'all good old stuff in and get access to patron parties and all that other stuff, man. And then y'all get to see me all the time, okay? And real quick, y'all, our brother Chuck Diesel, our moderator, man, we all know him, our Troll Slayer 101, man. That's my dog and my hype, man. He needs some of our help. So if we can, what we want to do, if you got it, please help the man out. $, Chuck Diesel 9, $, Chuck Diesel 9. Let's show our brother some love. He really needs it right now. I'm going to send something myself, Chuck, and anybody else that can, man. Please, let's help our brother out in need. All right? Brother Chuck Diesel, we got you, brother.
It's like I've been waiting around for you. Why did you take so long to come to me? Maybe you were waiting around for me too. So
and then, David, if you could, pin that in the chat room for me, David, please. Hey, Brother Chuck, as much as you do for us, man, and a lot of other people, you be doing your thing, bro. So anything that we can do to help, we're gonna help you out. Y'all said y'all wanted a joke, so here it go. I can't believe this is why I went yesterday, y'all. I can't believe I was arrested for impersonating a politician. Yes, I got arrested for impersonating a politician. I mean, I was just sitting there doing nothing. That was actually a good one. I like that one. Brother A.R. Walker, good morning to you.
Oh, we're walking on cloud nine.
Marquez, exactly. That's why I like that one. And that was the first one that popped up when I went on my little site too.
When I get you back, oh yeah. When I get you back, oh yeah. When I get you back, oh yeah. I promise you'll never leave me. When it comes to you and me, there's no one else I'd rather be with. Baby, I won't let you down. I got it, I know you need it. Heaven's hit when you're around. Oh, please say that you believe it. 'Cause I don't wanna lose you. I hope you feel that way too. No, I don't wanna lose you. Baby, don't go. Don't go. When I get you back, oh yeah. When I get you back, oh yeah. When I get you back, oh yeah. Oh, when I get you back, oh yeah.
You call me the remix of Fridays, you know. It's time for my convention. 9 a.m. to 10:30, yeah. Like it or not is on your channel, yeah. Politics and culture is we change skin like we supposed to, yeah. Interviews and all the news, we get to choose what gets the views. Like it or not, with Queen Azor, get started now, so stick around. Like it or not, it's going down. Like it. Y'all know what time it is. Y'all stick around. Oh, Rebecca Azor is coming through. You know she got a good story for you. Oh, Benjamin, that's my dog. This is his show. He's a politics bro. I am your DJ. DJ exclusive. Y'all know who I am. I stay dropping them jams. Like it or not, it's going down. Like it or not, y'all stick around. Oh, like it or not, it's starting now. Laverne Rebel be right.
Like It or Not with Benjamin Dixon starts now.
This man, what? Who? What? How did? When did this happen? How did this happen? I mean,
well, Eric, Eric Yang, what's it? Is Eric? What's Eric's last name? The math guy. And listen, before we go into that, let me bring in our guests, Kalandi Changa and Professor Jared Ball. They are joining us for Freedom All Fridays, where we are going to speak on America's political prisoners. Gentlemen, good morning and thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
Hey, what's happening? Hey, listen.
Yes, sir.
Y'all hitting hard, man. The first thing, as soon as I turn it on, y'all got Eric Adams on there, and that dude right there. Good God Almighty, as my grandmother would say. I'm like, man.
Good morning,
I'm like, man.
Listen, gentlemen, before we rip that man, whatever, we're gonna hit him so hard that he's gonna have an existential crisis if he ever sees this clip. But before we do that, can I just say greetings and salutations to you? Happy New Year to both of you. It's good to see you on this side of 2021.
Right.
Likewise. Good to see everybody. Appreciate you all having us. And what's up with that? Where you get that hoodie at, man?
Honestly, I got it at Walmart.
Oh wow!
Yeah, man.
It's HBC hoodie.
Yeah, man. I'm in political and economic exile, so I'm like, listen, just why not tell people like Eric Adams that he's not going to get away with this, right?
That
like
cat right there, man.
He really ain't gonna be able to get away with playing this kind of super Negro role and think we're just gonna be like, oh, we're gonna support the black man because he got a D by his name. We're gonna talk about the political prisoners in a minute. I know Rebecca had to step away, but she obviously is giving you guys greetings this morning. Let's start with you, Professor Ball, and then I'm gonna hand it to you, Brother Tonga. What say ye to the mayor of New York?
I don't have anything to say to the mayor of New York. I would only want to address myself to the people of New York and to the people of the broader, society, community, etc., that we need to step up our political analysis and engage the system very differently. Otherwise, this is what we get. So I got this from Ward Churchill, who Kalanji had on our platform not too long ago, who said something years ago that I really appreciate. This whole notion of speaking truth to power is a little bit misunderstood and misguided. We don't need to speak truth to power. They're not listening. We need to speak truth to each other and become the power. So that's what I would want to say. This guy, I don't have anything to say to him other than what I co-sign whatever my colleagues and compatriots here this morning have to say. But specifically, I'm talking to the rest of us. We need to get more radical.
Talk to us, not him. Brother Changa, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think that Eric Adams is necessary for New York. And I say that because of the fact that we need to truly understand where we are in this age of empire. I think we get carried away and we think that black faces in high places equate to us being successful as a people. So I think he's absolutely necessary. And I think that the folks should pay attention to him and really, go hard on his ass. You know what I'm saying? So
Real.
Yes. And you know what? You should measure. See, what I'm doing right now is I am trying to measure how hard I go in the paint with what I'm going through. Now, if the people of New York did the same thing and used that kind of energy, you matched your kind of activism and work and push to change this system with what kind of hell you going through. And I think Mr. Adams would definitely have some reconsiderations on the policies he's trying to employ there in the city of New York. Good morning, back again to the Queen Rebecca. I can step to the side now.
What? No, you can stop. You can stay right there. Hey, Professor Ball, how you doing? Hey, Kalanji, how you guys doing?
Hey, we good now. We needed that balance because those two brothers on the left and the right of you, man, they colder than the white man. I saw them get down a while ago.
I'm pretty sure.
I don't know what you're talking about.
What I really wanted to see, because every time I've been on here, I've watched, and I've watched you guys do your thing, and I wanted to see it. I wanted to be right in the middle of it because I love the exchange between you, Professor Ball, and Benjamin Dixon. I love how you guys can definitely intellectually have a conversation, and you as well, Kalanji. I haven't been on the show with you, but I have watched you on the Benjamin Dixon show, and on his little segment before hours, and and I love to see how you guys can break down something in three different ways, right? And then throw it back out there, and it's still giving the same message. So I just wanted to say that I can't wait as we work through.
No, thank you. And of course, this is how we do at the good Morgan State University.
It's not Florida A&M, but I can say, shouts out.
I don't even feel like it.
Shouts out to Morgan. It's not Florida A&M. It is a Friday. We just don't.
But I will say, I will say that you all are standing in the blessing of the last will and testament of none other than Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune. I will tell you that. I would tell you, James. I get the amount wrong every time. James, how much did she use to start Bethune-Cookman?
$1.50.
Well, we can see when we get over there, but it's okay. HBCU love all across the board. God bless HBCUs.
It's okay. We can't have all the white people give us the money.
I was just happy to see you because of the fact that you had me on here with these crazy bald heads, and I was just feeling like I was.
But no, seriously.
I'm feeling like I was. You know what I mean?
Three different shades of B&Bs.
Let's talk about it.
Rebecca.
Thank you, Rebecca.
Head full of hair.
Professor Ball. I've always been a disruptor. All of my classes I've ever been in, I was a disruptor. So now we're here for a real serious lesson today. Now I'm gonna yield the floor to you, because otherwise we're gonna be laughing the rest of the way. But we got some work to do, Professor. And
No
Brother King,
doubt.
I'm gonna turn it over to you so we can talk about these political prisoners. Our political prisoners.
And I appreciate that. And with the permission of your crack staff, am I able to share? Is it okay if I share a screen very quickly? Is that or am I not able to do that? If maybe not, I tell you what,
David, look, producer David, are we able to do that?
What I'm going to do is I'm going to just drop in the private chat.
Drop the link and then I'll bring it up. Yeah, it won't allow me to do that.
Okay.
Sorry about that. So I'm dropping the link in the private chat because I just wanted to highlight a news update.
Get the word.
Everybody.
White slave.
Listen. I told you I am a disruptor. Please mute my mic.
Please don't be a disruptor, Ben. Professor Ball, continue. Thank you.
Right. No doubt. But there's this new story that has come out. This one published in the Workers' World about a new filing in the case of Mumia Abu-Jamal, who is one of the more prominent and long-held political prisoners, by Dr. Johanna Fernandez, that one of his most ardent supporters and advocates. And the short of it is that new evidence has been unearthed that shows more of the details of the chicanery and abuse in the trial and continued imprisonment of Mumia. Mumia, a former journalist, supporter of the MOVE movement, Black Panther Party, award-winning journalist at that, who has been locked up. Kalonji, check me on that 1980-81 for the killing of police officer Daniel Faulkner. 40 years, where there has been, and I'm being insufficient here in saying there has been decades of, from the beginnings of the trial, of legal abuses, injustices in the carrying out of the process of locking him up. And these new sets of boxes, 6 boxes of case files that were found in the storage of the DA's office back in December 2018, show even more complicity in the state abusing the rights of Mumia and assuring that he not be given a just trial. And certainly free to this point. Now, there's much more to say. We can get into some of the details. So Kalonji knows. Yeah, please go ahead.
Can I ask
please
you a point for a point of information? You're saying how many files were found in the DA's office?
So let me just quickly read here. With continued pressure from below, 2022 will be the year that forces the Philadelphia DA's office and the Philly Police Department to answer questions about why they framed imprisoned radio journalist and veteran Black Panther Mumia Abu-Jamal. Abu-Jamal's attorneys have filed a PCRA petition focused entirely on the 6 boxes of case files that were found in a storage room of the DA's office in late December 2018, after the case being heard before Judge Leon Tucker in the Court of Common Pleas concluded, end quote. So in other words, they found 6 boxes of material that is further evidence. And there's so much more going back to the Judge Sabo trial initially of him basically saying, I'm going to help fry the nigger, as I believe was the exact quote. But there's all of these anyway, so there's just more evidence of the state's complicitness in railroading Mumia Abu-Jamal. And the real issue, and the point I always want to make about all of this, is that the real issue, whatever the claimed details are of the trial or of the case itself, is the fact that Mumia represents a wing of struggle that this country has been demonizing ever since we've been dragged over here. He represents a militant approach and response and call to us to organize that continues to be demonized. So the continued presence of him and others as political prisoners is evidence of itself, by itself, of the lack of change and progress we've made in this country.
Right. And I think we got to keep in mind too that Mumia he's been a political target for many years, starting at age 14 when he joined the Black Panther Party. He was a award-winning journalist before he was framed and sent to these gulags. Of course, he was sentenced to death row, and after 20 years, they realized, or they decided that they would take him off death row, and they kept him on death row for another 10 years because the police unions were trying to trying to
Mhm.
get him, keep him in I mean, they wanted to see him dead, basically. So it began with not only his work with the Black Panther Party, but what really catapulted the state's disdain for him was when he was fighting on behalf of the MOVE organization going back to
Right.
1958. So Mumia, we interviewed him very recently on Black Power Media, and he's in good health now, but he's also been suffering from different types of medical condition, including hepatitis, Hep C, and also different ailments of the heart. He just had a heart surgery situation earlier this year, and they've been trying to break him, but he is, I mean, he's still strong. We have to know that the man's been locked up since he was 27 years old. He's now 67. So when we talk about political prisoners, oftentimes we think of like old men. But many of these prisoners, these brothers and sisters who have been framed and incarcerated, have been locked up since early 20s and mid 20s, so on and so forth. And you have folks not only like Mumia, but like Sundiata Kohli, who's now 84 years old, who they still denying parole. So
at 84 years old.
Yes.
At 84 years old, they're denied.
Yes.
But you know what they'll let an 84-year-old do? Say good morning to you at Walmart on Christmas Day.
Oh, how about that? That's deep.
On the real.
Ringing the bell. It's crazy that what they'll do is want to paint him as cop killer, those things. And how in America, once you say this person murdered a cop or was affiliated with anything like that, they're going to, we see what they do with that, because Blue Lives Matter over Black lives. That's just what it is. That's America's way. And so when they paint somebody as that, this police force, the union, everybody, because once you have on uniform, they just believe that they're all one, but they're still moving in white supremacist ways. That's just what it is as well. So it's like when we hear about Mumia, I remember I have a friend of mine who used to discuss it for years. And then he talked about some recent news of him he posted, and he's like, why isn't anyone talking about this? This is because, they don't want to look at the bigger picture. They don't want to look at his work. They don't want to like who he is, what he's done, his history, just putting out the fact that, he's associated with killing a cop. And that's it. Once people hear that, it's like nobody wants to move forward
in the
and
conversation,
trying to get to know anything about what his history was, what his walk was, what were the reasons, what parties he was affiliated with,
what happened,
how he helped the community, anything. Those are going to be those things that we don't know. And that's almost like the way that they want us to, what is it, critical race theory, how they don't want us to know a lot about the true stories that happened to a lot of these people that we know, their names, like Martin Luther King, how they fluffed all of that, how they fluffed a lot of this information. They don't want you to know it. They just want you to see this, whatever they want to teach you, that's it. But if we read about Mumia, if we read about his walk, if we read about the history of it, if we read about the things that he was fighting for, we'll have a better understanding, right? Because being Black in America is not easy. So when we have somebody willing to fight for us, willing to give up their life for us, there's always more to that story. So I think that with in this particular case, it would serve us to definitely refer back to the interview that you guys did with him recently, and for us to get to know the history of what he's been through.
I was going to say, do you have any? Did you bring any of the interview that you guys did with him recently? Do we have any of that?
No, we actually didn't bring it is an audio interview, of course.
Okay.
We can have that.
We would have needed to convert it for you. But listen, next time we obviously we're going to do this on a regular basis because, and James, I'm sorry, I didn't want to cut you off. I was just curious. We had that clip, but we want to do this on an ongoing basis. So feel free to send any of those type of interviews, any of those clips from your episodes that helps highlight this, because the truth of the matter is what Rebecca said is true. The moment you hear a cop killer,
right,
even Black folks who understand exactly how that plays out, when they throw us on the hood and tell us to stop resisting and we already in the handcuffs, right? But they say cop killer and we all just turn our heads. And it's a pretty convenient way to get us to look away from people who have been in prison since they were 27. Man.
Now, I would just out.
Sorry, go ahead.
Just to add on to what you're saying, and to what Rebecca said about folks not having information on Mumia. The sad thing about it, internationally, he has a very large international support effort going right now. Everyone from Richard Wright's daughter, Julia Wright, to France Fanon's daughter. And I mean, he actually has a street named after him in France. You know what I mean? Mumia has written 11 books since he's been locked up. So it's not, you know, it's not like
it's an American.
And I need folks to understand, when you say political prisoners, all political prisoners aren't accused of murdering police officers.
That's right.
Martin Luther King, whose birthday is coming up, he was considered a political prisoner for the short time he was locked up, not because of the fact that there was any crimes committed, but because of his political beliefs and actions. So we got to keep that in mind. So when we talk about political prisoners, it's not just a situation where you know, they're accused of, and in fact, it's not even a question of guilt or innocence. You know what I mean? We often talk about in America how we have a right to defend ourselves, and so many folks have defended themselves. In the case of Asada Shakur, where she was shot on the New Jersey Turnpike with her hands up, you know what I'm saying, with her arms up. You know, so we have to understand, you know, exactly what we're dealing with.
I mean, people should remember what and be aware of what the case involved, what the claim involved. The official claim involves Mumia leaving his cab to defend his brother, who was being accosted violently by the police, and then shots were fired. A cop is dead. Mumia is himself shot. So one way I think to look at it is, even if he is said to have done, and there's a lot of evidence to suggest he didn't do it, but even if he was said to have done what he did, why wouldn't we want to be as vigorous in his defense anyway? In other words, so like when we talk about George Floyd or Dante Wright or whoever else, what if someone associated with Dante or George stepped in, intervened, and while suffering a shot themselves, the cop is the one that is wounded or dead, and Dante and George survive? Would we then turn our back on that person who intervened, or do we really need to wait until we're all dead in the street before we step up and say that there's something wrong? So that would just be one part of it. But then when you look at the case itself and the politics involved, nobody, even if he is said to have done what he is accused of, nobody should have to suffer what Mumia has suffered, and for the reasons he has suffered it, which have nothing ultimately to do with killing the police officer. It is all about his politics and his journalism work.
And it's I like how you guys broke that down, Kalanji, making sense to you know, you don't have to be a cop killer or whatever to be a political prisoner. And when they're in these prisons, you know, you guys mentioned breaking down. So his health is diminishing, and they don't give a damn. They're just like, you know, he deserves, we won't give him anything. His health is diminishing. This man has been in here for decades. You know, they want to break your mental, they want to do that, and they start really young. We see even in just the jail system, right? They'll just throw you in there, say no phone calls. We've seen where people have gone into just jail just to be there for a night and have not left it because they are dead. Right. And then, you know, this is the system that the police officers do in here. And like you said, it doesn't have to just be something where, oh, he's possibly killed a cop. It could be just where you stand on a black situation, on Black matters. And the fact that you do stand up for Black people, they'll throw you in jail just because of that. They'll try to break you and break your mind and try to make you like think that that's going to shift how you feel. No, I'm going to stay on this. But now they're going to say you don't deserve any meals. You don't deserve any health care. I mean, the system is already messed up in that way. But, you know, they're going to make sure that you break. And here we still have, you know, see this man being able to communicate and talk after all these years, but I know it's doing a number on him. I know it. I know it.
Yeah, right. Remember, a journalist. He's a journalist. So that means that any one of us on this platform today can be the next Mumia. You have to understand that he was interviewing people like Bob Marley. He wasn't just a political journalist. He wasn't just, you know, worried about the movement, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? There's interviews that you can check out with. I mean, how many people you know interviewed Bob Marley? You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's like, I mean, like, come on, man. You know, this is
he's legendary.
Yeah, serious guy. So, you know,
you know, there's a couple things that y'all are saying here that all connects. And Rebecca, one of the things you pointed out is how they break it down on levels of analysis, right? They break it down on 3 levels and then they toss it out. Here's the thing with this country has no problem handling people that they deem to be a threat to it. None. But they don't seem to think those people on January 6th pose a sufficient enough threat to remotely get some kind of punishment like this brother got right here. People who want to overthrow the government, I mean, not want to, but actually try to, versus people who fight on behalf of Black lives. Do we not see the juxtaposition of what this empire really thinks about Black folk?
No, that's pretty clear. I mean, the whole discussion around January 6th is it's just a new propaganda media spectacle now, the way they'll turn, 9/11 or Veterans Day or some commemoration of a war into some, flag waving event to remind people of what the appropriate politics are.
Yeah.
And we could even debate, to what extent we thought January 6th was some sort of takeover or threat, or to whatever extent even intelligence agencies were themselves increasingly reported to having been involved with that. But the point still remains that whatever was happening, and certainly the way it's being recast and retold, is to remind everybody that there is nothing left of the Democratic Party. There is nothing, appropriate about, uprisings or criticism of the state or the material conditions of the people held within it. So all of that is what is being done here. And then Mumia stands as not just a suffering individual, but political prisoners like him are symbols to that same effect, to say, look, if you want to rise up in a certain direction, this is the punishment. Because yes, while some of the so-called insurrectionists of January 6th have some prison sentences and whatnot, there hasn't been some crackdown on them the way there was on the Black Power movement, the Black liberation struggle, or people like Mumia. So again, that was why I'll stop here where I start, that the very fact that Mumia remains and others remain, Mutulu Shakur, Sundiata Kohli remain incarcerated, is evidence of the absence of change and the absence of real progress in this country.
That's right. Brother Chunka.
Muted, my
You're
man.
muted.
Oh man, we got to show him how to unmute over there. There you go. Oh wait,
There we go.
There it is. Hey, I was saying some cold stuff, man. I mean, y'all.
Oh, right.
I think Dr. Ball muted me. He said, "Man, you ain't gonna get this one up on me this time." But,
that's how we do it, BPM. You gotta get in when you can get in. It's a struggle. It's more over there, boy.
Yes. You gotta go for yours. You get tossed out the car, ran over. To the point, man. It's like, we're clear. You have political prisoners. The longest held political prisoner in the United States is Rochelle McGee, and he's been incarcerated for 57 years, going to 58 years. You know what I mean? He was one of the comrades of Jonathan Jackson. You know what I mean? So we're talking about Jonathan Jackson's been dead since 1970. He was locked up before then. So you're talking about 58 years now. And I mean, it's ridiculous. You have folks like Sirhan getting out of prison. You know what I mean? You have folks like John Hinckley Jr., who shot the president of the United States.
I didn't think you could get worse than a person killing a nominee for the president of the United States, but a person who actually shot the president of the United States. Both them, man, keep preaching.
Man. We're talking about, when you talk about white power, they remind you of your place on this planet. And even the black guy, the one black guy who decided to run up in the Capitol as well. I mean, I'm quite sure that his time is going to be a little bit longer.
Yeah,
because they got to remind him that you still.
We say that all the time too. Yep.
Yeah. Know who you think you are, Negro. Don't get it twisted.
You want to stand in the middle of the in the hall, just like chilling, like, yeah, what's going on, man? You about to be the longest.
Wait a minute,
oh, man.
David, we're gonna see. Dave, it's not even a test. David is the greatest producer on the face of the planet. David, go get Antufus. It's been a long time since we ran that clip, but black folks, y'all better know better than to run up in these crowds with audiences that are white, thinking you're gonna come out scot-free. Because this dude ran up with the Proud Boys one time and came out with no teeth.
Wow. So is this your interview with Mumia here?
Yeah, that's actually one of them. We have that clip, and we have another one that's a little shorter. But that was the first interview we did. And I don't think he had. I think that was probably the first interview he did since he had his heart surgery, if I'm not mistaken. So
wow.
Yeah.
You know, man, we could talk about this all day.
Well, before,
yeah.
sorry, Ben, go
No,
ahead.
no, go ahead, Rebecca, because I was
Yeah,
going to ask another
it's just
question.
so
but
much when you. I love how you guys break down political prisoners because I mean, it could be any one of
Yes.
it can be any one of us that are sitting right here. I know that there was and I forget his name. Georgia's colleague passed yesterday. I know he was a big journalist and he passed yesterday, and I forget his name. Yes, and
Mel.
yes.
Mel Reeves.
Yes. And she was saying how, you know, a lot of journalists, she said, you know, they asked her, you know, how do you consider yourself, you know, as a journalist? She said, I'm just a journalist. I'm just somebody who works in the media. And he was telling her, hey, you know, you're an activist. And she said, I don't consider myself an activist. But when he started breaking down, you know, listen, just being Black, covering this content, covering all of this, you're naturally just an activist. It just comes with it. You can't, you ask a white person as a journalist, you know, what they doing. It's just like they can regurgitate the news. But when we're talking about our issues or we're talking about things that are happening in our communities, you're naturally an activist. When you're choosing these stories, you're just naturally an activist. So when I hear about Mumia, when I hear us, when I see us, and I you know, I see the stories that we choose to cover, when I see the content that we choose to cover, you know, it could be us at any moment. We know a lot of people who aren't journalists, who are maybe musicians who have been you know, who have been muted because they talk about political issues, right? We know so many people who have been just because they've been just talking about political things. It could be hunger, right? In Black communities, and they'll shut you down. It's the vaccine for people to have easy access to getting the vaccine in Black communities. They'll literally blacklist you just for that. We see this happening every day, and it's really sad to see people who are fighting for this movement or anything, or just anything that helps us as a people. And it also brings me back to, if we go to Breonna Taylor, right? The cop shooting into her home, her boyfriend shooting back, and they instantly, you know, put him as the criminal, right? And try to frame that whole situation as them being criminal just because the cop was shot or whatever the case may be. And this is where I'm saying, like, it's up to us to change the narrative and change the rhetoric. It's gonna be you know, it's rocky. A lot of us may be put into jail just for going to cover a protest while them folks is pulling up to the Capitol on January 6th, doing all kinds of stuff. Ain't been reprimanded, okay? None of them. And you know,
they get vegan meals.
That's what I was going to say, man. The health of Mumia, and the your boy, the shaman, the dude with the horns in the Capitol, in the Senate, making a mockery of all that is the security of this empire, gets a vegan meal. You see how they treat white terrorist insurrectionists as opposed to Black people fighting for Black lives.
Or McDonald's, if you pour white trash in South Carolina, you can get a Happy Meal.
Burger King meal.
Stop at Burger King on the way. Yeah.
Pardon me.
No, I mean just
when you pulling up to protest to kill folks, you can get dapped up. You know what I'm saying? They're telling you about you know, just because you told the cop that you love them. I mean, listen, you're gonna get
you a bottle of water.
Car, you're gonna get a meal, and then you're gonna become a celebrity after the fact.
A damn celebrity.
So I mean, you know, you again, rest in power to Mel Reeves, because Mel represented an ethic that certainly is exemplified in Mumia. That you and the way it could be any field. If you I've attempted to engage the academy from the perspective of an activist. Mel attempted to engage journalism from the perspective of an activist. We engage media spaces like YouTube, et cetera, from the perspective. So it could be anything that you know, medical doctors, you know, people talk about Che Guevara being the best example of that. You enter a field with an idea of how you want to practice it and apply that trade. And there's a penalty for that. There can often be a penalty for that, whether it's marginalization or worse. So Mel certainly represented that, and we need people like that who engage journalism from the perspective of, I'm working for the liberation of my community and my people. So I will, if my talent is writing or producing media, I'm going to do it in service of that struggle. And that is certainly what Mel, you know, was an exemplar of, and certainly a part of the reason why Mumia is still locked up.
Listen, I want to be honest here. I did not know Mel, and I did not know his work And actually, I need to give Georgia a call back because I was talking to Georgia yesterday and she mentioned it and it didn't register to me because I didn't know the significance of his work. But of course, I knew the significance of her relationship of a friend who dies. But when you don't have knowledge, you really can't understand like the scope and the scale of the impact of a person's work. And Professor Ball, thank you for giving that impromptu eulogy, because now you can understand, even those of us who didn't know of him beforehand, we can understand what it is to take whatever work we're doing and do it from the perspective of an activist to honor his memory.
Yeah.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah. Man, this has been a it's been a heavy episode. Can we? And it's a great episode, nonetheless. I do want you guys to take a look at this clip. This is a young black man who fancies himself to be a member of the Proud Boys, a young black man who followed the Proud Boys into battle, and a young black man who didn't come out the same way he went in. Let's take a look at Antufas.
Very hard in getting more speakers. The website will be back up. The rally is going to be great. We're going to have police protection. Everyone's going to be protected. I'm working on everything. I've been working very hard on everything. Will no longer be any personal issues, no infighting. That's been taken care of as well and established. We are good to go. All we're going to be doing now is beating the living shit out of all the people trying to stop us. They knock out my front teeth. Working very hard and getting more speakers. The website will be back up. The rally is going to be great. We're going to have police protection.
This was during the terrorist attack at the Capitol?
I'm working on everything. I've been working very hard on everything.
Wait, where'd it go?
Will no longer be any personal issues, no infighting. That's been taken care of as well and established. We are good to go. All we're going to be doing now is beating the living shit out of all the people trying to stop us. They knock out my front teeth.
Pause it, bro. I do think this is a January 6th incident. He went to January 6th.
We covered
with all
it, but I don't
those
remember.
plans.
Was it from January 6th? We have a lot of folks just cooning out here. But, you know, I don't really know. But this is a great example of black people need to sit down when it comes to these things. Why are you guys fighting these fights? They are never going to fight for you. Like,
exactly.
I need you to understand this. They are never going to fight for you. You're going to be lost in the sauce while they trying to figure out. You're trying to make orders telling them, hey, you know, there they go, you know, go beat them up. Next thing you know, they looking at you like, but they're confused. But he's black too. Now your teeth knocked out.
And they did say it was before January 6th.
It was before January 6th.
He was at a BLM protest.
Oh, so he was going to show up to beat up. Oh my gosh.
He's going to beat up his own goddamn people.
Okay. He ran into the right one.
They were like,
he ran into the right one. Exactly.
I think Ben probably clocked him.
I had to reach up a little bit, fellas. Yeah, no, I
knocked the teeth all the way out.
Hey, listen, I ain't tell y'all when
we know what happens when you tell Ben we got to vote for a Republican.
Yeah. I told y'all Ben rolled up on me in the supermarket. He said, hey man, I had a mask on and everything. Hey man, what's your name? Kalungai, whatever.
I'm
on your show. Hold on, bro. Like, what's going on? I said, nah, kid, it wasn't me. He said, no, it was you.
Kalungi was like, hold on, slow down, little brother.
Why would you pull up on him like that, Ben?
Well, because
I was higher than the light bill when I saw him too. I'm like, man, you don't get your ass out of here.
So was I.
That's why you acted that way.
You can't roll
Hey,
up on
my daughter like, that's 5-0 run.
Knowing both, man, look here. That was funny. I'm glad to know that we were both in the same kind of astronomical estate. Because let me tell you, man, when I saw you, I'm like, I think I know this brother. And I said, but see, I thought you
never met in person. You guys never met in person.
I thought he lived in the hood. He lived over there on the
put me in the hood.
He lived on the. See now I live in the hood.
We fighting for the hood, but we gentrifying the other side. You see,
I got
gentrified. Like Kalonji says, he just looks like that.
He look like
I got
that.
gentrified in reverse, Rebecca.
I like nice shit, Ben.
Okay. So we got two bougie revolutionaries on two people who are.
Hold on now.
No. Rebecca is the classiest bougiest
I
revolutionary.
reverse gentrify. Listen, and where the rent is cheaper, they gonna
Oh,
find
wow.
me. Okay, I need to make sure
That's
that
her
I'm able
revolutionary
to
action.
live too, and I too can enjoy the good things. I'm just gonna call my
Okay.
mama and them, friends and them, and let them know where the spot's at. Listen, this is where it's at. The
It'll
grass
be
is
black
greener
soon
over here.
enough.
Right, right. The rent is cheaper over here. Like, let's pull up. Let's
How
you
is
know what
it
I'm
cheaper
saying?
in the nicest side of town, man?
Hey,
I don't know.
Cucamonga
It's
cracker killers.
cheaper.
You know how that
It's
goes.
Wait a minute.
I can't lie. Police officers have, and I told you guys that there with a reverse gentrifying, you know, it still comes. Like, police officers be at my door. They used to, but now I have a black female officer who makes sure nobody comes to my door. But before that, when I first moved here as the only black person in my building, I had many police officers coming to the door because I was playing songs with other languages because I'm Haitian, so they couldn't understand. You know, white folks couldn't understand on my floor what's going on in this home. You know what I'm saying? So they would always call the police officers when I was playing. But if I would crack some country music up, you know, they wouldn't be a thing. It wouldn't be a thing. And country music ain't even got to be white, but they just relate to that.
Hey,
it ain't got to be a thing.
Rebecca, I gotta be fair to my old neighborhood. I don't live out there anymore, Kalanji, but to be fair to
Hey,
your
look, you
neighborhood,
trying to tell me you don't live. I just saw him in the store the other day. I don't live there no more.
I'm in political and economic exile. I'm not a prisoner. I'm in exile.
You in trouble, sucker. Shut up. You just sleeping on the sofa now. That's
Listen,
hey man, don't tell all my business. Listen.
We are all revolutionizing every area that we're going into. I don't care where I am. I'm going to make it. It's going to be black. We're going to make it black. It doesn't matter. It's like nothing here. I don't feel like, you know, when I see ponytails swinging, that's not my texture down. You know, where I used to live, I didn't like that too much, right? Because now rent is getting higher. So I said, you know what? Let me go check out where they stay and let me see. You know, let me go look at the numbers. Okay. So I went over here. The numbers was low. Brand new building. I said, why doesn't anybody else know about this nice little town that has all these new buildings that are affordable instead of like roach motels where that they're flipping, you know, into God knows what for the
charging $5,000 for one bedroom.
This is what I wanted to say about the neighborhood that I'm no longer a part of. It's like that.
You still have the Bentley though?
The region.
Man, they took it. They took it, man. They came and got the Bentley too, bro.
I'm sorry, go ahead, brother. I ain't mean to cut you off.
Now, our neighborhood ain't that nice. You can't have a Bentley in our neighborhood. Well, it is a very nice middle class. Would you say middle class, upper middle class? But it's black. It's black. I mean, it's black. Like everywhere you turn is black. The grocery store, it's so black.
That doesn't even got to be hood because it's black.
Well, no, it's not. It wasn't hood at all. It was it was like Mayberry out there, man. It was the nicest place I have ever lived in my life. It was so black though that when I saw the first white person out there, I was like, "Where they going?"
Damn it, David.
I was like, "Who?" David.
Damn it, David.
It was. I didn't see that video. Listen, with the last 2 minutes that we have, and fellas, thank y'all so much for coming on. Tell everybody how they can support your work.
Man,
we go
Dr. Ball, you wanna rock it, brother?
I mean, I think the easiest thing to do is definitely go to blackpowermedia.org, blackpowermedia.org, where you can find all of our shows, all the social media, all the ways to support, get involved, and just add us to your media diet. It's really just that simple. We're not in competition with anybody.
Go ahead.
It depends. I mean, so like right now, like my show is on right now. So like I got a show, you know, we got morning shows, we got evening shows, we got shows that pop up whenever it's convenient. So that's why you just got to click the bell and get the notifications. And
that's right.
And when shows are on at the same time, I don't ask that you leave Ben's show to check mine out. I just say, come check mine out after Ben's. That's all. That's all, you know. So that's it. In all seriousness, we want to add to people's media ecology, their environment, their diet. So just add us. It's just work us in when you get time and take advantage of the fact that it's one more opportunity to not watch some mainstream corporate nonsense.
And Toofus. Y'all ready to go? Toofus. It's been a long time since we ran that clip.
David. I know you got some in the bank.
Y'all better know better than to run up in these.
No, there was one that I did drop that was funny, and I would love for you to drop that one where the delivery driver was looking at the door like, "What the hell that is?" A raccoon was attacking the lady. I need you guys to your interview with Ariane here.
Yeah,
that's
South.
actually
This is
one of
attacking
them.
the
We have
lady.
that.
Okay,
It was,
and,
it was a
we have another one
raccoon.
that's a little shorter.
Didn't you
But,
have coon
yeah,
before?
that was the.
Best thing to do
Because
is
when he said that word,
definitely
I
go
was
to
reminded what that was.
blackpowermedia.org,
I got Cool Whip bottle.
blackpowermedia.org,
Yeah.
where you can find
Man,
all of our
Cool Whip. Did I
shows,
get
No, the
all of
butter, the
our
butter. That was
all the
butter.
social.
For a long time, and it's time for these people to. It's time for them to
They
start
need their
taking their
rest.
rest, man.
They got to rest.
They did what they needed to. What needed to be done. They really did.
Listen, man, I would tell you this: at the level of strategery, I know that's not a word.
It's probably seen his grand.
Go back there and get my.
Yeah,
I told you. I had
Wednesday.
about this much. Okay, here's a video.
Okay, so when you order DoorDash in the Valley, let's take a look.
Shoot. I have a big raccoon that keeps coming to my door. Really? Well, we have a stray cat, so we leave food out for the cat. See, look, it's right there. Go! Oh, shit!
He ran up.
Listen.
Oh my God!
He pulled the hell up.
It's her inside saying telling her husband it's a raccoon outside trying to get me.
That's very scary.
Oh yeah, I'm about to pull up on that
And
ass.
then she was doing what white folks do, acting like go. Okay. And then no, it was her walking down while the black man stayed all the way. You could tell that was a black man all the way on the other side. As the DoorDash.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. And she's like, yeah, it's a raccoon. He always tries to come, and we have a stray cat that we feed. The man's like, yeah, I'm not coming to the door.
That's the only reason I know he's black. The only reason I know he's black is because he didn't come to the door.
He did not come to the door.
Because when he said that's crazy, man, I thought he was white for a second. But I know we use that too.
No, listen.
If it was a white person, he would have been
not
that's crazy.
He was focused on the raccoon.
In the door.
He said it's right there. He said, look, it's right there. Why he's like, that's crazy. It's right there.
But what got me rolling is, did she say shit balls?
It's shit balls.
Yo, why? No, it's shit balls. That's what she said. Sorry, mama. It's
shit balls.
Oh, shit balls. Why do they have to be shit balls? That is crazy.
Why does her joke sound like a sound effect?
Why the raccoon was about to run up on her like that? No.
Cracked the door open the second time. The raccoon said, "What's up?" I thought I said close the door. What's up? I thought I said close the door.
Yeah, I remember the Kevin Hart stand up. He said the raccoon that door was like bang, bang.
Bro. So James, yes, I've had raccoon before in the South.
Now that raccoon,
I had about this much raccoon. James, look at the screen. I had about that much coon barbecue. It was barbecue coon, and I put it in my mouth, and I realized exactly what it was. The sauce was good, but when I realized it was coon, I threw it away. That's as much. This is as much coon as I've even tasted. So yeah,
coon and coon. Terrible, really close. Play the next clip, David.
Wait. Run the next coon clip. It is the mayor of New York City. And I'm joking. Go ahead.
You asshole. David, play the one I dropped. I can't remember what it is.
Oh man. Y'all have blessed my soul today. Oh, no, he got to get fought. No, we got to fight.
But if you dip that damn knife back in that damn jar, I'm gonna smack the hell out of you. What? That's nasty. What you mean? I'm gonna wash it off? What the hell you mean you gonna wash it off? Dad, I'm gonna wash the knife off. Are you slow? Dad, I just said I'm gonna wash the knife off. It's not about the damn knife. You getting your damn spit in my peanut butter. I mean, we family anyway, it don't matter. Well, how about I piss in the damn cup and make your ass drink it since we family? Come on, Dad, you being extra. Why I throw the damn crock pot over there? You better watch your damn mouth before I put an extra foot up your ass. Dad, I'm just saying. I do it all the time. It's not a big deal. You do what now? What's wrong with it? My damn utensils? My damn... Don't matter, we got the same germs. What the hell wrong with you? No.
But why do we say, why back in the day, and I don't do that anymore. Like I just
You saw my reaction.
But we're family. And it's almost like if you haven't seen a family member in a long time, they still gonna just grab your drink.
Hell no, they
out
ain't.
the straw. Well, you know, back then before COVID-19.
Okay.
Right.
But they're gonna grab your drink, check out the straw. Even your partner, I'm just like, hey, every time like you go out, they're just drinking at the same cup as you, whatever. Like, I mean, just, and I'm like, oh, I don't know, like what's happening here. I know,
Rebecca,
I don't know.
I just want to say, short of my marriage partner, I ain't drinking out of nobody's cup. Well, see, I must have been about to tell a lie.
Listen, but why was that? No, and then when we were younger, how we used to be like drinking after our best friends. I can't even. Did they brush their teeth in the bar? Listen, for me,
we ain't think about shit like that. We just did it. We just went on, did it.
But now, I wonder is that going to be a new thing? Because we had a.
You know, now we think about
we're also a generation. I think the millennial generation had went through so many generations in one so quickly as well. So we were the generation that played outside, you know, talk on the phone, saw the beepers, when the cell phones first came out. Yeah, right. We saw where the tape recorder became the CD player.
You had a beeper?
No, my dad had a beeper, and we used to call his beeper all the time.
I'm about to say,
yeah, I had a beeper. We weren't allowed to get beepers. A child would stay in a child's place at the time.
The only time a girl could reach me across the country was with a beeper back in the day. That's how bad technology was when we got started in the game.
And they had a two-way. So the beeper
the two-way,
and then
the Nextel. Don't forget the Nextel.
Or Nextel. What was it? The other phone. The other phone.
Bluetooth. I mean, BlackBerry. It just went out.
I had BlackBerry.
The other one, the sidekick.
The sidekick.
With the screen roll up with the keyboard. Yep.
Yeah, all of those types of phones. And then the Razor came out and changed the game because now you were wanting to flip your phone. So the Razor came out and it changed the game for everyone. And no, but before all that was the brick phone. So it was just like a cordless phone you were carrying in your bag.
Yep.
You know, that's all it was. But it's funny
because we're kind of getting back to the bricks anyway. Like this is a whole. This is
really a brick. Honestly, this is a brick. But
it's a big ass phone.
And this is the 13, y'all. This is literally 13. Ain't nothing different about this phone than the 11 and the 12. I said
12.
The camera.
Put that on the screen.
The camera.
Damn. Them girls are.
You know how we do it. Everybody been doing that in Haiti's business. But if we allow Haiti to take control and hopefully possibly gain control of the situation and they move forward and they are at the head of trying him, I think that will show Haiti having some kind of just something. It's been a long time and we haven't been able to really speak for ourselves. What's up? I didn't even see the BA.
You see the man down
there. Happy New Year, y'all.
Happy New Year, Brother Pascal.
Hey, and also happy Haitian Independence Day.
Happy Haitian Independence
Day. I have to say real quick. So I made my first batch ever of soup jumu.
Really?
On Haitian Independence Day. Yeah. And it was fire. Oh, it still is fire, actually, because I still got people coming over and grabbing.
You got to take the comments off a man's face.
I was like, I couldn't see him. Go ahead.
But yeah, about to just creep out from under the lower thirds from the ticker. But yeah, made it just like how my mama makes it and everything.
Oh, did you? You think you made it how your mama make it, or did you make it how your mama made it?
Oh, I made it exactly how my mama makes it.
Okay.
So it was fire.
Did your mama test it and tell you it was exactly like hers?
Exactly like hers. Exactly.
Okay. Well, then I can't say nothing about it.
I took a whole vat of it.
drove all the way over to her, dropped it off, and I was like,
You
But
really
we got that
transported
installed.
soup? You transported soup?
yes, I did. There's these
Jiggling
things
in the
called
back seat,
Tupperware
Soup
dough.
just rocking.
There's
Soup
these
just
new
rocking.
contraptions called Tupperware dough.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right.
You know,
You're right.
Hey, no,
You
Rebecca, you
transported
and me,
soup?
black.
I mean,
We
what the
black,
hell?
because we wouldn't even think about Tupperware. We
Me
thinking
neither.
about towels in the back seat with the pot in
It's
it.
Man,
terrible
y'all
because
tripping.
when
I ain't gonna let that go down. God damn it, y'all use Tupperware. Y'all know y'all
I
got
know,
Tupperware
I
in that
know. I
damn
grown
house.
up because when he said that word, I was reminded what that was. And
I got Cool Whip bottle. Yeah, I got
Man.
Cool Whip that I
no,
use for
the butter,
Tupperware,
the
bro.
butter. That was our
Butter.
Tupperware. The butter
butter.
container. The
Pickle
Y'all
jars.
tripping. The
Oh
pickle
man,
jars.
mason
Come on,
jars,
y'all.
bro. Look.
Pickle
I'm gonna
jars.
take y'all back. Y'all, the plastic containers that you used to have, they were real hard plastic. Back in the day, they had the little design on it, got a little dot in the middle with the little fan thing going all the way around. That's the old school Tupperware. That's the real
I
Tupperware.
don't know
You
that
got
one,
me
but
on
that's
that
getting
one now.
old.
Exactly. Mama know what I'm talking about.
See, James is simultaneously extremely young-hearted, but the oldest person on the screen. So you
Contrived.
remember that, but you, yeah, that's
Oh yeah.
interesting. bro.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, because I
Damn.
don't remember that.
80s.
That's before my day. Pascal, happy New Year to you, brother,
Happy New Year.
man. It's good.
I can't be on very long, but I just wanted to hop on. It's been a minute. I miss seeing all y'all's faces.
So when you taking
Right.
your tree down,
Oh, God damn it,
it
Rebecca.
looks good though. It looks good.
I knew she was gonna say something. I
Because
knew
look,
It
I
looks
was gonna
good.
get to it. That was gonna be the next thing I say. I
It
was like, so,
looks
bro, we
good,
taking that damn tree down,
but
bro.
Yo, like a purple elf came up and just vomited Christmas
it looks
in
good
my
though.
office. Now,
Like a Q came up there and
Jesus
just barked and
is
everything.
Santa is a
did.
Q dog in his house, bro.
here's a question though. Here's a question I have for everybody. When do you take down your Christmas decorations? When is the
with
right time to? I'm doing at the end of this week.
Okay,
I'm
so
doing
since
one more week and then it's over.
I took mine down early because I put it up early. And when I got home, I said, get this out of my living room. Get this red, get this out of my living room. Get this green out of my living room.
It was over.
Get it all.
Hold
Get it
on.
all out of here. It's just trash. What's up? What's up?
Hey,
What's wrong?
David, take me down for one.
Okay, so like get
This
it
is
out of my
mighty efficient, David.
yeah, he's trying to fix his camera. But I was like,
Yeah,
get
no,
this out of my
David.
living room. It's trash. Like I don't want it here anymore. The holidays are over, whatever. But last year, I was like, you know what? I just want it to be Christmas every day. I've been having so and then Temptation in the background. Silent night. And I'm just
In my mind.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas from the Temptations.
Hang on. Listen, let me tell you.
Silent night.
It sounds like a male chorus to me. Sorry, guys.
Lord.
I know that's, I know
In
that's
my
blasphemy.
mind.
I know that's blasphemy, but I'm not a fan of that Temptations rendition of Silent
Why?
Night.
What?
What's wrong
David,
with you?
David, drop in, please.
Man, I'm done with the show.
David,
Bye.
David, drop in, David.
David, drop in.
They
Thank
just-
you. What? There we go. Look, the two Haitians, bring them. Get Ben out of here, David. You can't, David. Damn.
Yeah, I don't know why mine is all out of focus. But
It's okay. Because
hell out of focus.
yeah, I saw it. I saw that one out of focus. So, anyways, how are you? What's going on?
I'm living.
You're
I'm
living.
I'm
So-
living. You know, I'm working a lot. Doing the show every single day, that kind of thing. Just trying to stay alive. Try to tell these stories. And
You actually did a story
good.
the other day where you invited, I don't know, but it was like a breaking story with, I think, an update on the people who may have been with or seen Gabrielle Petito.
oh yeah,
or
yeah.
something. Yeah.
You're talking about Sean Paul Schulte and the private investigator Jason Jensen.
Mhm.
So long story short, Kylan Schulte and Crystal Turner were a married couple that were out and they were found murdered out in Moab, Utah, around the same time that Gabby Petito had disappeared and was murdered as well. So there was a huge speculation that Brian Laundrie went off on some crazy killing spree, killed these two, but it actually shows that there was like their paths did cross at some point. But that's really it. I mean, there's been people thinking that, Brian Laundrie is the one that shot and killed these these two women, so on and so forth. But in actual reality, it didn't happen at all. So that actually just got debunked yesterday, yesterday. So people have been speculating this for months.
Oh,
right? So so I had the father of Kylan Schulte, one of the two that were murdered out in Moab, Utah, and his private investigator, because they're still trying to find out who did this, who murdered these two, and what's going on, right? So they came on to confirm things, to debunk some theories, some conspiracies, all that stuff. So big exclusive.
Man, you go grab those interviews, man. You'll talk to anybody, man. I'll be watching you over there doing your thing.
I mean, shoot. Hey, if I could talk to a wall, because this is literally what I'm doing right now. I'm talking to a damn wall.
You're trapped in the closet.
Trapped in the closet. You know what I mean?
We can't sing that lot, but I know that it's a box, but it can't sing that.
We can't sing it no more.
Oh,
and do it no more.
Dang, you're right. I can't even sing that no more. And that's so funny.
And that's like, I believe I can. I can't do.
And
that.
my kids be around. Listen, my kids be around the house singing that.
No.
And I don't even know where they got it from.
Damn, I'm not ready.
Terrible. And
Dang, I can't even sing that no more. Okay, you know what?
Oh
my bad. Shout out to the mute R.
Step
Kelly
in the
crew.
name of never mind.
Yeah,
the new R. Kelly
shout out
crew.
to the mute R. Kelly
And
crew,
it's
'cause
Christmas.
I rock with
His
them. I'm
rendition.
down with them. Yeah, my bad.
Wait, the new R. Kelly crew. Who's the new R. Kelly?
No, the mute R. Kelly crew. Shout out to them. Yeah, mute R. Kelly. I rock with them. Sorry for using that. I know it's kind of a gag, but yeah.
No,
you're
no.
right. You're right.
We did. We mute R. Kelly over here, but I'm saying that there are moments that you don't even like, because he's written so many songs for so many artists that you don't even know that you're singing a song written by the Kale. It's just too much. But
it wasn't really written by him because he can't write. Never mind.
Well,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm an ass. I'm being an ass. He deserves
When
it.
you're right, you're right, though.
And is he really a great singer?
yes, he can change like 7 different styles, but we're not going to talk about that because mute R. Kelly. We're moving on.
Facts.
He's really a great singer. Come on, now,
Damn it,
Rebecca,
12 play.
You come from the church now. I'm just saying.
Ben, the way
In the church, he would. In the
play,
church, he would be
the
an
way
average
that man
singer.
started 12 play, but why are we continuing this conversation? Because I don't want to go.
We
there.
can't go there.
I'm just saying he's not the best singer. I wouldn't choose him for a solo in the church choir. That's all I'm saying. Go ahead, go ahead, Rebecca.
Facts. Yeah. He sounds like a goat. Moving on. Though, I'm sorry. I'm not sorry, but I am sorry.
That's all that. You know what? Never mind. Move on.
Let's move. The Weeknd is a R&B artist.
Did I say what?
You say what?
Is this the same crowd that will say the Weeknd is an R&B artist?
No, I think I would say the Weeknd is like some Afro punk, like future stuff. Like I don't think he's an R&B artist.
Afro punk.
I don't.
You know what? I'm not.
I don't think he's an before he's an R&B artist. I don't
pop
consider him R&B.
He's pop.
He's winning R&B awards. While R&B singers are in like Jasmine.
Well, hell,
Sullivan
I mean, they consider Drake
not.
a singer now with his new album, all the singing. They putting him in the singing category now. So I don't know. They just destroyed R&B. If you ask me,
Drake needs to stop.
Drake needs to stop. Thank you.
All up in his feelings. You know what I'm saying?
Love girls where I'm from.
I just come onto the show and go off.
You did. You threw it off the rails because Ben was already doing that. But Jasmine Sullivan is the best to ever do it right now. The best that's doing it right now.
Now that's a singer.
She is a singer. She's
That is a
R&B.
singer.
She's everything that we've been missing and more. So if you guys haven't, make sure you definitely plug Jasmine Sullivan's latest project, Hotels.
Hotels.
It's great. Hotels.
What you say, Rebecca? I wanna see. What you say, girl? You wanna do what with it? Okay. That's how you feel in 2021.
Hey, you know what? Honestly, Pascal, I know you got to go because your show is coming up in a few minutes. Tell the folks. I want you to tell the folks about what you're going to cover today. But I wanted to say the four of us really should start a little doo-wop group. We could do some harmonies. Yeah. What's going on your show today, Pascal?
There you go.
In the still of the night, I held you tight, for I love love you so. Promise I'll never let you go in the still of the night.
That was Tony Braxton. Oh,
Wow.
And the male chorus and the bass singer from the male chorus at your church,
This show just went.
also known as the bass singer for the Temptations.
it did.
Which is
We
why I
were
don't
off
like
the
it.
rails, baby. We literally are off.
all
And I
good.
apologize to everybody who was listening, watching. Sorry, not sorry. It is Wednesday. We're
Talking about,
free
this is the
on
best show
Wednesday.
ever. What's the point? Who
ain't
wants to come in here and talk
politicking.
about politics all the damn time?
We ain't
Not
politicking.
Nah.
We ain't politicking.
We don't got a
I
politics.
saw. Did you see the look on Benjamin's face when he was singing? Though he looked like he was trying to take a poop. He was concentrating.
But I feel like Ben wanted to really carry that note. He said, he got right up in there.
What you
He
talking
gotta
about?
get right in the
I used to be the bass singer in my. See, I guess I'm jealous of the Temptation bass singer. Is really the
That's
true
what it
story.
is. That's
I
what it
didn't
That's
get
why you
picked
don't
for-
like the song.
I
That's
didn't
why you
get
don't like
picked
the
for the
song.
solo. I wanted to be the bass singer for the Silent Night solo.
Is he the
at
one
my
that
church.
wheelchaired out in the movie?
No, I don't know. Is he?
Is the one that rolled out
I
and
never
died
watched.
in
I
the
never watched
wheelchair?
the movie.
Ladies and gentlemen, the edibles have kicked in. Just so you can see.
The funny
Don't
story
adjust your
is
TV set.
no.
I don't know why mine is out of focus. It's driving me nuts.
You didn't have to do it like that, David. David, you didn't have to put his out of focus one shot on him.
Hey,
That
listen,
damn white man always. Let me stop.
listen. Here's the beautiful thing about this media thing that we do and the way we do it. So long as we land the plane properly, nobody knows. So still, at 10 o'clock, you're going to be live. What are you talking about?
Flight
What
from
are you
Denzel.
What are you
Okay.
going to be? What are you going to be talking about today at 10 o'clock Eastern?
I have no clue.
So you know what you should touch on
He
though?
said he ain't gonna help me pretend to
No,
be
but you know what
professional.
you should touch on though, Pascal. You should touch on actually. There was a conversation that's actually going around with these people who do podcasts, kind of like what we're doing here. But you know, they'll have these artists on. So the latest one was some podcast guy, Sudanese man, who has a Black American counterpart as his partner for the show. And Asian the Brat, who is a female rapper who everybody pretty much knows. But she was on the show recently, and this man kept shushing her the whole time. And you know how crazy she gets. She didn't even get crazy on the show, but she kept shushing her. But then there were other videos that started popping up where he's constantly shushing Black girls. Hey, can y'all be quiet on the side? Do your side conversation.
Who is this
You guys
now?
be quiet. It's a podcast, but if you go on to, I believe, like, you know, Baller Alert Shade Room, you'll see that. But the point of this conversation is the fact that before that, they even dug some more, and they found out that he was saying like he doesn't do dark. He doesn't date in the dark. He doesn't
Pascal,
date,
you covered it slim and fit, if I'm not mistaken. I just saw it on Shade Room this morning.
Yeah.
Slim and fit.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, remember, I think when I came on, you were talking about that was doing the guys came in and they were trying to rob them while they were on camera doing the show.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know what? Well,
In
that's,
those spaces, though, but I'll say this: in
that's
those
wild.
spaces, those two people, but people who have those podcast spaces, right? They don't. And she started to say, "Hey, I have a Instagram. I have, you know, whatever." He told her, "Hey, don't come on here. You came late. Then you started talking on my show. Now you come on here and you're trying to promote yourself. I know we only have 6,000 people right now, but we get up to 2 million. So you come on promoting yourself.
Wait,
We don't
what's the
even
name
know-
of his show
Fresh
again?
and fit. Fresh and fit. You talking about
Fresh and fit? Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
And
they started some ish again.
yes, with
Yeah,
Asian, but
they really did.
It's with dark skinned girls, particularly Black women. It's with all women, but particularly Black women that come on that
But
show.
Rebecca,
Yes,
you said he did this to the Brat.
yeah, Asian. No, not the Brat. Asian the
Oh.
Brat. Her name is Asian the Brat.
Oh, because you said
Asian doll.
You mean
Asian
Asian
doll.
doll.
Asian doll.
Asian doll.
Yeah,
but
Asian
yes,
doll.
Yeah,
When you said Brat, every one of our heads did the same thing. We were like,
yeah, but that's her name on
Right.
Instagram. That's her name on
My camera
Instagram because
goes
she compares herself to a Brat doll. But I said that to say there are these platforms like this with a lot of Black women sitting at the table or being invited to the table and being disrespected daily by men who are misogynistic and are okay with discussing and saying that it's a preference. A preference would be, I like my woman small, short, whatever, But when you're actually saying, I don't date in the dark, I don't date darkies, I don't do Black women, I don't
It's
do.
bad.
He said all of these words, he said all of these things. He continued with that kind of conversation. And then
That's
when we
horrible.
see how he treats women, right, who come on the show,
Yeah.
It also speaks loudly. But these podcasts in the closet, folks, no offense, because we all in the house and crib and closets and stuff like that. But these people who are, but they're getting so much money and they're getting so much play only to be watched to disrespect women constantly. I even see females with these platforms to do the same thing to Black men, and I don't think it's right. I honestly don't. But the fact that he didn't even know or respect her for her being her, and for her craft and anything like that, I didn't like that. It's like he really.
You can't give some people
He chopped
power,
her
man.
down. He tried to chop her down to the knees, and that's what we see a lot with men who will try to do it. Black women, they come in these platforms, but the way that he talked to them constantly, it was like, shush, you're talking in the corner,
Right.
Shush, hush.
But that's his whole demeanor. That's what the whole show is all about. Is basically
Really?
knocking these women down as many pegs as they can on their show, and it's kind of like, oh, if you don't want to hear me talk because it's my show, you can get the F out, and then they get Frank Castled. That's what they call it.
What's that?
They get kicked out. They literally just get kicked out.
That's not what Frank Castle is.
No,
Frank,
but
they call Frank Castling throwing somebody off a show.
Yeah, on their show. They go.
Oh,
"Hey,
that's their
Frank
thing.
Castle."
But everyone know who Frank Castle is, the Punisher, right? Everybody know the
Exactly.
Punisher.
Mhm.
Frank Castle ain't throwing nobody off the show, my man.
Nah.
Well,
So yeah, so that's trash. Real talk, that's trash.
And I don't even know who we talking about. So who's the main character in this? Who's
Yeah,
the villain?
I need to see this. I need to see this video. But
don't see the video because it's
time.
but
Yeah,
it-
I just sent it to your IG, Pascal. I just sent it
yeah,
to you.
it's the videos that are transparent. It's the videos that came up because social media, they'll dig and they'll find other stuff and they'll put the stuff together and make a whole documentary. So now it basically is showing
Asian doll.
how right. Coming up at 5, Asian doll on whatever that show is called.
Fresh and Fit.
Being
Pascal,
disrespected. Are
we gotta
Black
get
women
you.
disrespected in the space of podcasts by Black men? Straight ahead.
Well, I can tell you this much.
Keep working on that.
Look,
Everything now too. You know what I'm saying?
Rebecca, you and I know, all of us know that if you decide to disrespect Black women, you skyrocket to the top of this game as a Black person.
Facts.
Let me say this, and hopefully it's okay for me to say this on
Say
your
it, man.
show,
Yeah, bro.
Mr. Dixon, Mr.
Help yourself.
Benjamin. First off, you went on the thing about talking about 10 packs and stuff yesterday.
Oh, not mine. I have a negative 5-pack.
I know.
So
it brought
you
me back.
were on
the thing.
so you got a picture you about to drop?
You got
Oh,
a picture?
no.
Jeremy?
No.
Y'all let the man finish.
I'm a work in progress. Let me just say that. But at the same time,
Rebecca is
hopefully I'm okay. It's okay for me to say this, but what's frustrating about things like bringing in the Black narrative, talking about the culture, all that stuff, talking about things that are going on in the world, talking about the injustices that do go on throughout the entire world when it comes to people of color. What is so frustrating is that shows like this, and other platforms that are talking about these things, putting out that narrative, are shadow banned, are shunned, or don't get the views that they rightfully deserve because
right here,
they're
I'm
not
like it or not.
getting out here. Exactly. You see what I'm saying? It's hard out here for a pimp.
Period.
It's hard out here for a
Period.
dog. And it's so
Yeah.
frustrating because you want to put out the word, you want to talk about what's going on in the world.
You could have started with that, by the way. You would have been comfortable. This is a good enough show. You could say it's hard out here for a pimp on the Benjamin Dixon Morning Show, and
It's
like it or not, for
hard
real.
out here for a pimp. It's hard.
So you
You ain't known. Okay, can't the rest of that line, but you know what I'm saying. It's very frustrating when you want to talk about things that are going on in the world. You know what I'm saying. You want to talk about things when somebody says, like for example, the judge that said the N-word on that leaked video.
Oh yeah,
that
yeah.
stuff. Ooh,
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
But then remember, in reverse though, the Black judge that was people coons and stuff like that. But look,
But you got to talk about both.
we got to talk about both.
Yeah.
You
We
got
got
to
to talk about both.
right. It can't just be one side, right?
It can't.
What's frustrating is that when you want to talk about those things, unless the people, right? If unless the people are rising that show up or rising that channel up, that voice, that opinion is just going to be stuffed. It's going to
That's
be
right.
buried.
That's
by
right.
Yeah.
all this other hardcore, right-winged,
That's
racist
right.
rhetoric that's seen on this platform and many other platforms all the time. And it's so frustrating because, we all want to be successful, right? We
I
just,
just wanna be
Trey Songz, I just want to be
Come on.
successful.
See, here's the problem, folks. I want you to know that today we did not go off the rails. What we did was follow
Hard.
each other's tangents, and we all know each other so well. But none of us have met each other except for none of us have met you, Pascal. We've met each other.
Where do you live? I mean,
Stranger
do you live
danger,
in
stranger
Atlanta?
danger.
I'm in St. Louis.
St. Louis.
Haitian
nice.
in St. Louis?
A
How?
Haitian in
Where?
St. Louis.
What the
That
hell
sounds
was
like
that?
a novel.
There's
That
a lot
sounds like
of
a damn novel.
There's a lot of Haitians. Is there a Haitian
There's a lot of
restaurant?
Haitians in St. Louis. No.
So there's not enough
And
to
you
make
know
a
what?
Haitian restaurant.
I'm gonna be real. That might be me. I'm gonna be real.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
That's something I have in the back of my mind. If you don't know, you need to check out my
Hey,
Instagram
know how to cook.
stories because I throw down.
Oh, you
throw
know how to
down?
cook for real.
Oh yeah.
David, just
Oh,
keep me
yeah.
up at this point. My camera
I'm a
going to keep
beast.
doing this. Just keep me up at this point.
I'm
Pascal,
a
the
beast.
Pascal show, 10 o'clock Eastern, unless we're holding him over like we're doing now. Thanks so much,
No.
brother, for joining us.
That is
Now,
not that
Rebecca's
man.
gonna
Look,
talk about it now.
2022.
Why did
That
you throw
is
this up?
not
And
him.
then Rebecca's going to talk about it.
Tyler
You know what I'm
Perry.
saying? I don't
Hey.
no.
Hey, Pascal, I'm going to be honest with you. Rebecca was looking out for you. Rebecca looking out for you. That's all. She's looking out for you. Because we see your videos. We see you be in the gym throwing them bricks around. Go get
Man,
one of them shots.
I'm putting in some work, okay?
I see
But
you. I see
I'm
you,
also thinking, like, for me, I said, okay, this year, 2022 is about treating myself. Take care of
Hey,
myself.
B-roll that shot so we can roast him on his way out, David. No, go ahead, Pascal.
Shut up.
Right. Pascal, before you go, man. Go ahead.
Yes, do it.
No, but I just said, hey, I'm going to start cooking more because I cook from time to time for fun, but I didn't cook like on a consistent basis. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel you.
Said, I'm just going to start cooking more and just treating myself, putting good food into good energy into my body. You know what I mean?
Pascal,
Working out.
I want to
No,
cook alone.
Somebody spelled the deep
We're
fake.
gonna have a battle of the bald-headed bakers. Well, you and me, we're not bakers because I
Ooh,
definitely don't bake.
I don't bake.
Yeah, I don't bake. But the
I'm about to
bald-headed
say
brothers
I'm
cook
about to
them.
say I'm the baker of the screen.
Well, there you go.
I mean, I
There you
do it
go.
all because I went to culinary school, so
y'all
it's
see what
whatever.
I'm saying? Look, y'all ain't even including me, but I like that because don't include the women because it's like whatever. But I just got into the kitchen yesterday.
Rebecca,
So,
we know you can't cook. You
No,
told us
not
you can't
wait.
cook.
Wow.
Rebecca made. Listen, I think the first
shit.
time I ever had soup jumu was from Rebecca, and it was good. It was off the
yeah,
chain.
I cook.
Wait. So how do you make it? I got time. I got time today.
Pumpkin or actual
It was
squash.
just good.
So
Yeah, tough.
are you pureeing the squash and all that,
Pumpkin.
or are you
But
making
there
it soupy?
Yeah,
Is it
I
thick?
don't. I needed to have them a little bit more thickness. So when you actually have
Take
the pumpkin and the squash, some people it's glow. No, glow. Some people it's just full. And I'm like, dang, just call it bouillon at this point.
Yeah,
It's just bouillon.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's got to be thicker than a Snicker.
You gotta have some. You know what I'm saying?
So it's like any meat or anything in it, or is it just
No,
like
it's
it's like
not.
the pureed
It's
pumpkin and squash?
So
No,
it's not
no.
pumpkin. It's butternut squash.
Mhm.
And then,
Okay.
The thing is yes, there is meat in there. Or you could put
Yeah.
meat, you could put chicken, whatever you want. But mainly
You put a fish in there, didn't you, Rebecca?
No.
What was that? What is that? What is that fish dish that you
talking
made
about
one time?
Boston Woods, Boston
Well, yeah, okay,
Woods.
yeah, no, that's the dish that you didn't make. You made
Yeah,
both of them.
that was the red snapper.
Bro,
That's
wait a
also-
minute.
You
Hey,
never
hey,
put no
what-
fish in
listen,
those noodles.
we got-
You got to
I'm the
get
only.
in.
I'm
You
the
got to
only
get your
person.
shadow
Listen,
man from
the
Haiti,
best
baby.
I ever did was dated a Haitian girl. Okay, I ain't married a Haitian woman. I ain't Haitian. I ain't dating a Haitian man.
You
I'm doing
don't
the best I can.
ever.
Rebecca's a pro.
You don't ever put
Go to hell,
fish
man.
in that.
No,
Ever.
no.
You
Ever
me
in
slide
life.
at it there, James.
I said
Yeah,
he
chicken
got
or
that in
I'm
beef.
there.
messy
All
as
you do is
hell.
chicken or beef in there. So
What was the fish? What was the fish dish that you made for me, Rebecca?
Boston was
Okay, but there
red
was. I
snapper.
had that too.
He turned into Uncle Benjamin today. He's like, what
He
you
just
doing?
shut up, Uncle Ben.
Listen, it was soupy and it was good. That's all I know. It
Yeah,
was
the
soupy
sauce
and it was
was
good.
Rebecca, ain't that one that you put that fish in the knuckle?
And the bun,
Hey.
that's what you had. The poisson was the sauce is what soupy. You drip that over on top of the poisson was, and then you have the bun. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
We need
yeah.
to sit down. We need to talk.
Yeah, talk.
Rebecca, come on now.
Y'all need to cook for us because I ain't never had none of this you talking about. My Haitian friend don't do none of this, okay?
I have no problem.
What's really going on?
8 hours. I have no problem driving 8 hours to sit down and throw down for y'all.
Oh yeah.
And I'm
Oh
back.
man, come on.
Don't worry
I'm
about
with
that.
it.
You know what I mean? I'm
All my male friends cook for me anyway. That's why I don't even really need to be cooking.
Okay, Rebecca, can I ask you something? Because
She one of them.
Rebecca, let me ask you something because I got
Ham.
times
You
today.
got time?
And it's a little bit off. Shoot, the edibles have kicked in. So here's the question for you. Why is it so hard to find a woman that can cook? I'm just curious.
Oh
So-
no, don't you do that on the show. No.
yeah.
You ain't gonna get me in trouble.
So
I'm
I'll
just asking.
answer it. It's definitely not hard to find a woman.
I see more men
Mhm.
that can throws it down in
So
the
that's-
kitchen than women.
But
Why? is that, Mom?
nowadays, I'll say this because there was a time when it was like very like women had to be in the kitchen, right? So
Yeah.
like had to be in the kitchen. And so I think nowadays it's like we've become free from that idea or being held in the chokehold from being like, oh, I gotta be in the kitchen. A lot of us are more so, oh, I gotta get this money, I gotta get to the bag, I gotta work, and ain't nobody gonna have me in the kitchen. That's how
Yeah.
literally me and a group of a lot of millennial women are. But don't say that we can't cook. Now you put a woman in the kitchen or a woman goes, we have to make sure we're feeding ourselves. We have to make sure that, I think the older I've gotten, I've realized I want to be able to cook. But a lot of men are men that cook. For me, it's a lot of cultural men. They all get in and they really throws it dizzy down. I
Yeah.
don't really have to cook. They like cooking for me. I put my feet up, and then after they finish cooking, I can take care of them.
Don't she remind y'all of Pam from Martin?
Take care of them, Rebecca.
Take care of them.
Hell.
Rebecca, you remind me of Pam and Gina.
Then
Pam,
let it
you
go.
remind me of Pam. No, you don't. It's
Here we go. Because everybody says I look like her. Okay. They all say it, and I just let it go.
gestures.
I'm loving
Pam.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm
Assimilated
be real.
gestures.
I'm
I
loving
love
the
it.
hair.
I love
Thank
it. It's
you.
great.
I'll give you mad
Thank
props
you.
for the hair. You look
Thank
great.
She killed it.
But-
She killed it in the game.
But I just find it interesting, right?
Yeah.
That yes, cultural men, yes, there's more men out here, if they are Haitian, you know what I mean? They know how to throw it down. They know how to
My Haitian don't cook. Let me stop.
big gear right now.
I'm kind of jealous. I'm low-key jealous a little bit.
You know what I'm saying? But it's rare. A lot of times it's
Does
show
your
up with
fiance
something just
cook?
get up in the box.
Does
Yes.
your fiance cook?
Yes.
Okay.
But
So I mean,
but I had to teach her. So I'm
and
saying,
that's okay because now she cooks. See,
yeah.
that's what
Now
I'm
she
talking about.
throws down. Now she can throw it down.
Yeah,
You know who
so-
can cook? Y'all know
Yeah.
who can cook? Aunties, the black aunties, them
I'm a
women
black
who
auntie
they
now.
and
That's
they and
why I
about
started
50
cooking.
years old. They still got it.
I'm ready
Know
to say
how
they about 50.
So yeah, about 56. They got, you know what I mean?
No,
They
but
know
they
how to
not
throw
auntie
down.
like they used to be. I'm
They
the
know how to throw-
generation of
Mm.
aunties now. That auntie generation is kind of, they kind of sitting down with canes right now. Now,
I
this-
did say about 56.
Yeah,
wait a damn minute.
We're the new aunties, though. We're the new aunties.
Mm-mm.
Like us women are the new aunties, but we are in the
Well, I'm
kitchen.
talking about the ones that cook soul food, the ones that put like 3 sticks of butters in the yams. You know what I mean? I'm talking about
TikTok is
them.
actually bringing that back. A lot of women are learning to cook from the TikToks. There are
Okay.
Yeah.
TikTok videos. They're bringing them out. They're doing these like all kinds of like, and I can't lie. I've been watching a few Haitian ones. That's what been having me. I am a pro at Haitian spaghetti. You can't tell me nothing. I just cooked it for my little brother. He was like, God dang, you know what I'm saying? Like, I am really good at frying up some spaghetti. I'm really good. I gotta definitely I gotta make that for y'all. That's one of
Yeah,
you
I don't put that on my list of
in it.
stuff that's cooked though. Like do
what?
y'all consider a person who cooks spaghetti a cooker?
No, for Haitian spaghetti. Did you hear me?
Haitian
Haitian
spaghetti is
spaghetti.
different.
That's so different.
Did you?
Haitian
Oh,
spaghetti
actually,
is
I
not-
totally
it's
did
not
not hear
Alfre-
that
It's not
Haitian
shrimp
before.
Alfredo.
Okay.
It's not that. It's not. It ain't that. Haitian spaghetti is totally different.
Oh wait, what's that
Yeah.
meme? What's that meme? You go home, somebody cook for you, and they cook some shrimp Alfredo. All right, man. David,
Because when I tell y'all, I throw it down. But it's a real thing now. Most black men can cook because we came up. That came from our generation. We had no choice
Right.
but to learn. Cause mom
We
said you
learned
need to get
from
your
the
ass in there and cook if
Let
you
me say
hungry.
this about for me with cooking. I grew up in a household, and I'm gonna be so candid and honest. I grew up in a household with my parents forcing us girls to have to go and watch the women cook while the boys played in the backyard. You know what I did? Because I was such a tomboy, I would go and be like, I don't want to do this, and go jump over the fence and go play basketball with my brothers on the court. And I'll go have a good time or play hopscotch or be jumping rope, going running, getting dirty, whatever. Because my mom, I remember my mother coming home, she ain't speak no damn English, but because of our culture, you have to cook for your kids and your husband, no matter what. She came home from school, trying to learn English, trying to get her nursing degree or whatever the case may be, all of that in one. Came home from a late night, ran over to the stove. I'll never forget this. Ran over to the stove, still had her purse on, stood at that damn in that kitchen, trying to cook for a man who went to sleep. And I told myself when I saw that, I will not be that way. I can't even front on y'all. This is facts. I will not be that way. But the older I have gotten, I understand the importance of taking care of yourself so that when you do have a family, you are able to take care of your family. I am a little bit old school and I do take from my culture in those ways. But there's a part of me that I used to say it all the time. I wouldn't get married. I wouldn't do any of that. I do not want to be a slave in the kitchen to nobody's son. I did say that, but I think, my perspective has changed, with understanding and things like that. But I did not like to see that. And I did not like the forcing of just the girls. When it came to family functions, they would be like, oh, all the girls got to be in the kitchen watching, helping to cook the meat, helping to do this, all of that. And I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all.
Yeah, I feel you on that. My dad was not a cook at all. He couldn't cook to save his life, but his family ran a bakery in a very successful bakery in Port-au-Prince, right? So when I was growing up, my dad didn't know how to cook at all. I mean, if my mom was out of town, you knew by the boiled hot dogs and the rice that was on the table, real talk, or pizza that was ordered, right?
Yeah.
But growing up, it was everybody was cooking. You see what I'm saying? It was like a communal thing, right? They were making the bread together. They were doing everything. You know what I mean? So that's kind of how it was
tribal. It sounds like you're more tribal.
Right. It was a family type of thing. But when it came to America, right? When you're on this land, it was different.
Don't do that.
It was my dad came home, dinner was on the table, very, very traditional. I didn't really learn how to cook until I hit college.
Yeah, you had to cook.
I was like, I want to eat, and I love mama's cooking, but
I ain't cooking
eating.
in third grade, man.
Right, man.
They had me in the kitchen cooking, learning how to cook dressing for my mama in
Alabama.
And stuff like eggs and stuff, sure, right? Eggs and stuff, and how to boil rice and all that, sure. But I mean, like,
but no, real meals, real
dishes and stuff. You feel like you're at home, kind of thing.
Well, I was an even fatter kid. I was an even fatter kid than I am an adult, because I used to love everything they cook. So I had to learn how to cook it myself. They do something one year for Thanksgiving, and I liked it. I'm like, okay, no, we're gonna do it for Christmas. But mama didn't want to cook it for Christmas, so I had to learn how to cook it so I could cook it for Christmas. And then that's so that's how we did it in our house. We just if we wanted to eat it, we had to cook it ourselves.
I want to address somebody in the chat, and shout out to Mara. What's up? Love you, mean it.
I saw Mara's comment. Shout out to her too.
But honestly, I just say this because I know everybody here is where I say we all grew up the same but different, right? And we grew up Black, but I grew up in a Haitian household. How we know Spanish people who grew up in a Spanish household, it's different in your house. When you step outside the door, you American. When you walk in that house, you're Haitian. So, but anywho, one person in the chat was explaining how why the pioneer, he says, problem is, not to be offensive, so many Latina and Asian women seem to not mind cooking and doing these things for their community. Why do so many Afro-American women resist it? So I'll say this. I'll say this. If you didn't hear what I just said and my truth, it's not that, if I were still raised like in Haiti and being raised in Haiti, that's something that would come naturally to me. But when I came here to America, I realized, hey, just because I have a vagina does not mean that I need to be forced into this way of living. While the men are doing some, just chilling or whatever the case may be, feet up. My brothers weren't even bringing any money in the house yet. but they got to literally act like my father, and we would be able to serve them. I'm not doing that for anybody's son, especially BD had son that don't do nothing for me. It has to be something, you know what I'm saying? My dad was bringing in money in the house and said, those kind of things. So of course, whatever. And they even taught me as a child, make sure you bring your dad the plate, like, treat him like a king. I have no problem treating somebody like a king. Don't get me wrong. That's one of the things that I've taken from my culture. But it is being treated like a slave. Did you not hear me? My mother was learning English, going to school from morning to nighttime. My dad could have, he learned how to order pizza later, because at first he was just waiting for her to bring the food home, get home and cook.
Jeez.
My mom was coming home at 11 p.m., 11:30, rushing over to the stove, still had her purse on, to cook us food. Daddy already went to sleep. Do you understand? That is not the life that I wanted to be taught how to live and things like that. So I did take from it. When I got older, I understood that at that point in time, when I got older, okay, Rebecca, you should have learned how to cook. But I did not like in that way where it's being forced upon me to try to be to learn how to be a servant for a man so young. It's not about that. So I understand what you're saying for the Latino women and the Asian women, but when you are raised in America and you start to get an opportunity to see freely and how you can take your culture and also take a little bit of this and understand, it's actually taught women that, okay, hey, we don't have to be a slave to no man, but we do want to treat and take care of our man. We want that to be an option, not a thing that's forced on you. Amen.
Amen.
Right.
Church said amen. Church said amen.
People don't realize like the way we grew up and came up is much different now than what it was,
And
because that's how a lot of people were brought up. It was just like, wife is the one that takes care of the house, does everything, cooking and cleaning. It's not that way anymore. Not that way anymore.
No. Pascal, go ahead, Pascal.
No. I was just gonna say, I mean, it is a different world now, right? Back in the day, there was traditions that were obviously we shook ourselves out of those foundations of traditions. You know what I mean? Given the fact that, I mean, there's so many different things that are happening now, and different traditions that have been, I guess, changed, if that makes any sense, or altered, right? So when it comes to something like this, where, what most, like me asking that question of like, why are there less women cooking than ever before? It's just an observation for myself, but also at the same time, it's a realization that, I mean, things are changing. The world is changing.
And and it's funny because when you get to this age, like I said, I still take from my culture. That's why I say I want to take care of my man. I want to be able to get in the kitchen for him, even if he's in the kitchen for me 98% of the time. 2% of that time, I want to make sure that if he says, baby, I'm hungry, Rebecca can get in the kitchen and make sure she throws it down for her man. Okay. And make sure my kids are taken care of. Yes, I still want to do dinners in beautiful, expensive places. Yes, I want to, have brunch, lunch, or whatever, but I do want to make sure if he says he's hungry, my husband to be, if he says hungry, I can throw down for him as his woman. I want to make sure I can take care of my children as their mother. Yes, there are those kind of things I still have in mind, but I'm not going to sit there and say, because I have a coochie, that I'm going to be doing that for, just automatically doing that.
Come on.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's
it has to be like
real. That's real, B. That's real.
So man can't say, make me a sandwich?
Hell no.
Okay.
You think I'm gonna ask my wife to go make me a sandwich? Do you think any of the Benjamin Dixon morning show would exist if I got up in one morning and say, hey babe, go in there and make me some coffee?
In the arms of an angel.
Look at me with this. He's like, hey baby, go make me some coffee. And the next thing you in the background in the clouds.
Yes, bro, I am making it a habit of taking breakfast to my wife. And it's not about showing off. I realized in a very selfish fashion, really, it's just, I'm gonna be egotistical, right? I'm not gonna say I'm a good person. I realized the more I freed my wife up, the more she was free to help me.
Right there.
Oh, that should be a shirt.
That should be on a shirt.
Now we pop a lock and crack a lacking and we making moves, even though I'm trapped in the closet.
When it's 50-50, we can't do that. Remember, Ben? When it's 50-50, it's like everything works out good. It's just like, oh, okay.
But let me ask you something, though. Like, what are you making her for dinner, for breakfast, though? You like pulling
Bro.
out the Eggos and just throwing in
Bro,
the toaster.
bro, wait a
or you
minute.
like
This is why
whipping the eggs and stuff,
I
making
didn't go. I didn't
Pascal,
sign
this
up
man
on-
be up at 3 a.m. doing shit. Pascal.
Pascal,
So he be having
I am
time.
out,
Look.
I'm out communing with the universe and doing yoga at 3 a.m. literally. So by the time breakfast comes around, I've already had a full menu time to do it all. So I mean, I'll do shrimp and grits for breakfast. I'll do salmon croquettes and grits for breakfast. I'll do salmon with the white wine sauce for lunch, just because it's Tuesday.
You lying, big head mother.
No, you want salmon. Salmon is beautiful. You got to get the good salmon though. Don't go get the bagged up salmon, even though I do get that
salmon.
too on a good day. But go to the Publix and say, "Can you cut me a slab or 3 slabs of salmon?" And it's rich in color. Oh God, it's so rich in color. And you take it home and you look at it and you're like, "Wow, I'm gonna cook you up." And depending on how you want to cook it, so if you want to bake it, put it on let it sear on the pan. Get out of here. I'm not paying you guys.
Tiger make quesadillas for breakfast?
Yeah. Something nice,
you at?
but there's something about salmon. People want to sleep on salmon and be like, yeah, salmon ain't even hitting on nothing.
No, salmon's good.
Right? And it's
I've done like some salmon bites with mashed potatoes. I've done for like 2 or 3 parties now. And when I tell you it'd be a hit, man.
Hey,
what?
the best
Y'all can't see me
macaroni
in
and
the
cheese.
kitchen, y'all.
No joke, no cap. The best macaroni and cheese I've ever had is not from a black woman. It's from a black brother down in Daytona Beach. He makes the best macaroni and cheese in the country. And I'm gonna mess y'all up. The best example I have ever seen of what a black man should be. Lie not to you. Mildred Hay in Florida, a black woman. I looked at her and I said, you know what? How she handles herself, how she handles herself in public, how she handles meetings, how she tells the truth when nobody else wants to tell the truth. She would stand up and tell the truth when nobody else wanted to. I said, that's who I want to be like. That's how I model my manhood, off a black woman.
You dropped that truth bomb so hard that you broke your camera.
Yeah, let's get out of
Always.
here. Hey man, you hung out with us the whole show now.
You did. You hung out with us the whole show.
Actually,
the whole show.
Because I'm gonna have to hop off here. I got a little bit of a something just popped up, so I got to go and take care of it.
Something came up.
Something came up. You know,
Something came up. Hey Pascal, before you go, man, just did you hear about the new invention I did?
No.
Man, the first thought I just invented the first thought control air freshener, man. It makes sense when you think about it. Happy New Year!
Like
Family guy.
And sin.
Hey,
I got it.
Hey man, go enjoy the rest of that edible that kicked in, man.
That's the edibles for all y'all.
Oh no, I don't do drugs.
Damn that. I do.
Hey, DJ Exclusive, play some music. Hey, listen, very special thank you to David, who prepared a magnificent show full of content for really serious news. Honest to goodness, and I just came in here and messed up everything. But we love you, David. Thank you, man.
Right.
Play some music.
Can we hear him? Is he?
Who, David?
No, he's cussing us out in the chat. But I love you guys so much. I'm headed out because there he go. David, be ready because he got a button-up shirt.
Those are the biggest goddamn headphones I've ever seen in my life.
Man,
what kind of
big? God damn. Giving me Princess Leia ear muffins.
David, we can't hear you.
Yeah, we can't hear you, David.
The ones Dwayne gave me broke, so I haven't ordered new ones yet.
Look, hence why I have my big ones on. Mine broke as well too. Look, David, we might as well get Rebecca's because she don't steal. They still in the box.
Right.
They get the box.
Oh, man, shout out to Chuck Diesel. Something's going on with Chuck Diesel. We got to find out what's going on with brother Chuck, man. So everybody, reach out to Chuck if you can. Make sure he's good.
I'm gonna be doing a later show today.
Just bounce out, man. If everything's okay, let us know. If we can do anything, man.
I appreciate all y'all. Happy New Year to all you guys, and of course to the fam, the Benjamin Dixon Show fam. I just wanted to say a Happy New Year to all y'all.
When you come on this show, though, it's like it or not, but it is
and then like it or not,
Dixon morning show.
I'm sorry.
Listen, anytime you see Rebecca and James on the screen, it's like it or not. Yeah,
my bad.
It's okay. It's okay, sweetheart.
Don't mind him.
Just like I don't try my mother.
Pascal, don't pay them no attention. I don't know what the hell they talking about.
I'm trying to focus on brand identity at the end of the show.
Right. So all the news in the world, and we
seriously,
David.
To all you guys, Happy New Year to all.
Happy New Year, brother. Thanks so much.
Happy New Year, sir.
Real
hey,
talk.
David, my other computer died, so I don't have sound ready.
We are janky as hell today.
All right. Well, Pascal can drop, but you all have to filibuster for about 30 seconds.
Pascal, take care, man.
Right.
We are janky as hell today. But I
Oh
honestly, one
my
of the
God.
funnest-
Pascal is trying to get out of here. Y'all, no, seriously, this morning we are janky,
Oh
a little
man,
janky. Ben
no,
has his
it was
camera
fun
off.
to me.
You know, I don't know what's going on with Bubba. He's scooting over to the, is that
To
the
the
bed?
bed, to the whole
He's
bed.
scooting over to the couch.
No, that's the couch. That's the couch. That's the
Listen,
couch. Okay.
and then Pascal had to go. He was his focus was out. It seems to be me that's only on point today. And so since I am here, and David pops in.
I was about to
pops
say,
in.
you're the only one, huh?
Yeah,
What?
go ahead, David. Go ahead,
David David camera looked like he broadcasting from the 90s, man. What's up with your camera, bro?
You bought the laptop.
Ooh.
Oh, oh,
The shade of it all.
all right, David.
I got my
The
head
shade of it
chopped
all.
off twice. Hey man, David, play some folky music for us, white man, and get us out of here.
No, he said we have to filibuster for a while. I see. Oh, it's there. So thank you guys for watching. Like it or not, I love you guys so much.
I love the way you said
Love
that.
you, mean it. I hope that you go and enjoy yourselves. Today is what, Wednesday. Give him something wise to leave with, Bubba, because I know you always have something good. But I love you guys. Mean
Ooh,
it.
here we go, y'all. Y'all affirmation for today. I refuse to let my mind bully my body. I refuse to let my mind bully my body. Y'all go be great, man. Love y'all, mean it. We will see y'all in the morning. Deuces.
Won't you join in? I can help you with anything you need. When you make mistakes, I can ease your pain. Follow me and dream. Won't you let me stay forever? The truth is our lives so much better. Won't you let me stay forever? Light up in the sky filled with treasure. Won't you let me stay forever? The truth is our lives so much better. Won't you let me stay forever? Light up in the sky filled with treasure. Swipe. Just picked up some bands, come again. They do what I do, I'm like Simon Says. Yeah, I'm the running man, rapping rubber bands. They do what I do, I'm like Simon Says. They do what I do, I'm like Simon Says. Swerving, making plays, cool Ferrari red. Never out my zone, touchdown in my hands. Only fam around me, I can't have no friends. Had to cut you off, you left me out for dead. Ever since I was a teen, had prices on my head. Had to cut you off, you left me out for dead. They do what I do, I'm like Simon Says. Just picked up some bands, come again. They do what I do, I'm like Simon Says. Yeah, I'm the running man, rapping rubber bands. They do what I do, I'm like Simon Says. Just picked up some bands, come again. They do what I do, I'm like Simon Says. Yeah, I'm the running man. Don't feel right. I still wanna party with her. Oh yeah. Even when it don't feel right.